Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Friday night. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is your first time joining the channel or the live stream, first of all, welcome. The way this works, super simple. On your screen on the right side, you'll see a chat box. In there, enter your question, your comment, your concerns of the day, and I work through them in the order they come in. Sometimes I have the answers, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream tonight. Some of you guys asked earlier, Mary, I saw you were in earlier, you asked some questions and you need to repost them because you did it so early that my software didn't pick it up. So if you don't mind, post your question again. All right, so we got VMH in the house. He says, hey Ron, happy Friday. It finally rained today, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys out in Texas are finally getting some rain. Unfortunately, the top dressing job that I had planned for yesterday got canceled, got nixed because of rain, right? We were supposed to top dress the lawn yesterday. I mean, the server's supposed to come do it, and got rained out. So it's been rescheduled for hopefully sometime next week. We shall see how that works out. If you guys want to see what I woke up to yesterday morning when I was, ready to film, show you guys all kinds of cool stuff, this is what outside looked like. And unfortunately, you can't top dress a lawn in that. You'll just make a big mess of it and tear things up. So the lawn gets to stay looking decent for a little bit longer, but fear not. Hopefully by this time next week, the lawn will be one big mess covered in dirt and sand, and just you guys will be able to tell me, why on earth are you messing with it? It was already good, right? That's the plan. All right, so Patrick's saying, wish we got some rain. Yeah, I hear you, Patrick. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Guys, we're just getting started here. I'm looking for some comments and questions. Be sure to, while you guys are on your way in, settle in with your beverage of choice, whatever you happen to be drinking tonight, be sure to sit down and hit that like button ever so gently if you guys wouldn't mind. It helps me out a ton, sends good vibes to YouTube, and will make more people come hang out with us for a great time, right? All right, next up is Brew Cruise Fishing. He says, cheers, Ron. Happy Friday. No rain here in Texas, but I'm green. Verticut today and did a cleanup mow after. Lots of debris picked up, and I believe I'll be doing it more often. Looks much better. Yeah, the thing with verticutting is it's a necessary evil, right? Especially if you're someone that is real mowing your lawn, especially at lower heights. After a while, the lawn starts to get really, really, really thick, and some of the problems you start running into is scalping in areas that you didn't scalp before. So it was a good thing that you found the time to go out and do it. Now, Brew Cruise, you gotta let me know further down. Hopefully you're still in the live stream. When you did it, did you have a verticutter from like one of the cartridge system mowers, like a Sterling or like an Owlet or a Swordman? Because I was wondering how bad the cleanup job was. Because the first time I did my lawn, first time I verticut it, like the cleanup was so bad that I vowed to never ever do it again. And now I'm doing it all the time because I have a way to not make a big mess of it. But yeah, you're right, because you got to figure a lot of the color, the lack of color you see in your lawn sometimes is a lot of the debris that's in there, right? A lot of the dead grass clippings, the decaying stuff. So if you get all that out, you clean all that out. One, when you lay the grass down when you're mowing, your stripe action is going to be better. And then the color of the lawn is going to be a lot more vibrant. It's going to look a lot better as well too. So not surprised that you're getting a good result with it. It is a ton of work. And yeah, just keep doing it, man. Once this time of year in the peak of the growing season, once per month is probably enough. For every 4 to 6 weeks is probably really all you need. But yeah, I'm glad that you gave it a shot and that you like what you're getting. All right, Higgy pops in the live stream. He says, hey Ron, happy Friday. Lawn is looking strong with the rain we are getting here in Cumming, Georgia. Have a great weekend. That's the plan, man. So yeah, so I'm glad to hear that you're getting some good rain, Higgy. And as far as this weekend, obviously karate tomorrow, as always, but then the plan for this weekend in prep for the top dressing next week, I'd like to thin it out. So it'll probably go a little bit more aggressive either tomorrow or Sunday. And I'll probably turf rake it a couple of times and verticut it at least once in each direction, just to really thin it out. So help that top dressing mix really settle in nicely, right? You know me, I don't really care if it gets ugly for a while because it always looks better afterwards, always. But yeah, I'm happy that you're getting the rain in Cumming, Georgia. Always good stuff. All right, we got Jackie the Bear saying, oh yeah, let's roll. Let's, man. Should be a good time. Let's see if you guys have some good questions tonight. We've got some mowers to show off. Speaking of which, the man of the hour, or one of the men of the hour, is in right now, Mr. Todd Gleaves. He says, happy Friday, all. I'm on the way back to check out a used 25-inch McLean mower. With any luck, I'll be mowing tomorrow on my new sod. If you guys want to see the mower, Todd sent me some pictures ahead of time. I'll show you one picture of it. I'm sure he's got more pictures at this point, but this is the mower that he's looking at. He's looking at a McLean. No, actually, that's the wrong one. Wrong mower. Wrong person. He's looking at a McLean. I'll move it up here. It looks like it's in pretty good shape to me. I think he's getting a pretty good deal on it. So yeah, Todd, look at that. I see a Greensmaster in the background there, a couple other real mowers. But yeah, man, if fire it up. If you like cutting with it, if you like how it runs, then by all means go with it. You know what I mean? By all means go with it. All right, next up is Mr. Papa Mo's Low. He says, hey everyone, what's going on, Papa Mo's Low? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. And then next up, we got Patrick in Texas saying, get my mow in before the live stream goes. That's a good idea, Patrick. Always a good plan. I mean, here's the thing. I appreciate you guys coming and watching, obviously, but I don't want you to neglect your lawn care as a matter of practice, right? So I mean, if you gotta get your lawn care in, get that done, and then come in the live stream afterwards, because we tend to go a bit long on this show. So I'm sure I'll still be here by the time you get back from all your mowing. Great stuff. All right, next up is Mr. Joseph Roberts, a friend of the channel. He's like, happy Friday, Ron. Happy Friday, everyone. What's going on, Joseph? Thanks for coming to hang out. And Mary, again, if you had your question, please re-answer it again, because you had a really good question about goosegrass. I'd like to share that with everyone else, but I can't bring it up unless you ask it. You ask it again. Okay, next up we got Heartfelt Fashion. He says, actually, no, I'm missing Papa Mo's Low. I can't do that. He says, hey, Ron, the longest sicker there's ever been before. Thank you. Mower now seems to be floating and drifting, and I'm getting some stolons that are not tacking down. Are these signs I need a verticut? I think so. The thing is, Papa Mo's Low, as I was telling Brew Crews earlier, that with as much time as we spend in our lawns mowing, after a while they tend to get thicker and thicker and thicker. And while that sounds good, right? Yes, everyone wants a nice thick lawn. You want a nice dense lawn, but at the same time, it can go too far to where the mower begins to float, the roller begins to float, and then, like I said, you start getting scalping issues. You get some of the stolons you're talking about, with them not being able to tack down because, again, they can't even really get to the soil because it's so thick. A nice verticut will clean that out. The lawn's going to look kind of ugly for a week, 10 days, but then it's going to heal up really nicely. What I might do, if you're going to do one Papa Mo's Low, is time your verticut around when you're about to do your next fertilization. So if you are planning on, let's say, where are you now? We're getting towards the end of July. If you're going to do, you're going to do your fertilization, your granular anyway, the beginning of August. Sometime this week, late next weekend would be a good time to do it, because you can get your fertilization and then give the lawn a little kick, have it bounce back a bit faster. So just something to consider as far as your verticut, how you want to plan it. Granted, you can do it now too. It's still gonna recover anyway, given all the heat that we're getting these days. So good stuff, man. Let me know how it works out. And you also said, we'll get his other comment here. So I'm still waiting on my Sterling to arrive for the verticutter. Also wanted to top dress. Should I go ahead and top dress and wait to verticut, or wait on the mower and to verticut before I top dress? If you plan to top dress, I would do that. You never know when the mower is going to show up, unless you've got a date already for it. I might go ahead and get the get the top dress in now. It would be ideally, if you could wave a magic wand, it would be better to be able to verticut before, or thin out the lawn a little bit before you top dress. But unless you tell me it's going to be here the next week or two, I would get your top dress in, because we still got plenty of time, but we're getting to the point where you need to, if you're going to do a top dress on warm season turf, you need to go ahead and get that done. You know what I mean? Really, end of July, really into the second week of August, depending on where you are in the country. That's about as far as you want to go into the season, so you give the lawn adequate time to heal from the work. Yep. All right. So next up, I'm just answering a question from our products. Yep. Yep. All right. So next up, we have Mr. Heartfelt Fashion in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, hey my friend, can you share your technique on how to cut strips with a real mower without leaving uneven patches? Do you, I don't know." He says stripes, and I like the new opening video. Okay, so how to get stripes without patches. So when I'm double cutting, I got a secret for you guys. Now, I normally don't share this, but whatever. We're all friends here, right? and it's gonna make me sound like I'm crazy, but you guys already knew that. So when I make my double wide passes, right? So I do two passes next to each other. Sometimes they don't overlap perfectly, right? So I might have a little gap in between. So what I tend to do afterwards, I'll go ahead and I'll double cut the entire lawn. Or sorry, I'll go and like make my double wide stripes over the entire lawn, and then I'll make a pass just down the middle of each of the double wide stripes. That way, if there's a little area that I miss, it's a little straggler, that cleans it up, gets it looking nice. It's all nice and even. You don't have any of those little high spots that you might miss when you're trying to get it to overlap perfectly, which can be difficult to do. So it doesn't take very long because you're not really cutting the grass, right? You're just making a pass really just down the middle of each one. So it should take you, I mean, a fraction of the time because it's just like a cleanup trim, right? So something you can try if you want, and yeah, give that a go. And as far as the new opening video, yeah, man, thanks. I mean, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's, you know, I mean, you guys might like it, you might hate it. What do you guys think? For any of you guys that were here when the intro played, do you like the new video? Do you prefer the old one? I figured the old one was just watching me mow, and I figured I'd make something a little more interesting since you got to sit around for 3 minutes while we wait for the stream to start. So you guys let me know what you guys think. You know, can always be modified and or changed. All right, but try that out, pop them heartfelt fashion. Try that out as far as making the pass down the middle, and you should be good to go. Good to go. All right, next up is Mr. Ben Raham. I got a super chat from him. Let me take care of that first and foremost.
Super chat received.
First of all, thank you for the super chat, Ben. He says, renovation finally taking hold. Now rotator cuff, ooh, torn. True cut retired until next season. Gonna have to ride the Husqvarna. Hopefully we'll be able to cut it 1.5 inches. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. That is no good, man. I will tell you, I'm not sure if you have to get surgery or whatever to get it fixed, but whatever physical therapy they tell you to do it, because you don't want to get this where it's you know, tight and locked up. You want to maintain your range of motion and mobility. So as much as it's gonna suck, it'd be painful, do all your physical therapy. So it's okay, man. We're getting close to the end of the season anyway. You know, if you got to ride the Husqvarna for, you know, another month or two, no big deal. At least you're still out there mowing and having a good time, right? Again, appreciate the super chat. If there's anything else I can help with, let me know. And again, the Husqvarna, depending on how flat your lawn is, you should be able to get away with 1.5 inches. You may have to go up to 2. I mean, I might, to be completely honest, I might just go to 2 inches and do that. Do your first cut and see how it looks. And then maybe I'm not sure what kind of increments it has. If you can drop it down just a little bit, a touch, then by all means go for that. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't want to get out there and go down to 1.5 inch and you end up scalping up the lawn, you know, this late in the season, unless that's your plan. So, well, sorry to hear that, sir, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Speedy recovery. Okay, next up is Thin Cut. He says sprayed yet. I'm not sure what you mean, sir, but I'm sure you'll ask the question again, so I'll understand what you were trying to ask. And next up is Joseph Roberts leading the charge. He says, lawnsmen and women, get those likes up, mash it. I appreciate that, Joseph. Thank you so much for the leading the charge. Love that. All right. Okay, next up is the first question of the evening, like around lawn care stuff, is from the Phantom. He says, what fertilizer should I start off with? Not sure which one to buy. Now, Phantom, you should know by now. You've been around the live stream long enough to know what my answer is probably going to be. You probably know what my answer is going to be. So the way to know which fertilizer, or to know the best fit as far as fertilizer, you're trying to be actually very, very precise. The best way is to start with a soil test, right? So get one of these guys. We have them at the golf course lawn store, the My Soil test kits. They're super easy to use. You get your results in like a week. And that will tell you exactly what kind of fertilizer is the best fit for your soil. But now, so you say, Ron, you know what? I don't feel like getting a soil test kit right now. I just want to get going. I want to put something down. To quote, I think Alan said this, and hopefully I'm not misquoting him, but starter fertilizer covers a multitude of sins. So if you go to the golf course lawn store and then go to the shop section and the lawn fertilizer section, which we have carefully curated for your shopping pleasure, and you scroll down, you will see the green bag. The green bag is the 1212 from Yard Mastery. This has got a bit of everything in it. Your phosphorus, your nitrogen, your potassium, and it's got a full micronutrient stack. So as far as like one fertilizer that will hit pretty much everything that you're going to need in your soil, this is what I would say to go with. So just go to the golf course lawn store fertilizer section and check out the starter fert. Now, because it has a bit of everything, it also probably has some stuff you may not need depending on your soil test results. We won't know that unless you get one of these. So my suggestion would be to get a soil test. Hope that helps, sir. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. Let me know, guys. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out, man. It's a lot of fun. Having you guys in the live stream. It's fun how much the channel has grown, and just again how much support you guys give each and every week, and I really do appreciate it. All right, next up is Mark F. He says, "Hey, hi, what's going on, Mark? How's it going? How's it going?" So, guys, what did you guys think? So, let's take a poll. What did you guys think of the mole video? Was it too much? Was it, I got some, believe it or not, I got some blowback. Some people were saying, oh, you should have just caught him and relocated him and taken him out in the forest somewhere or whatever. What do you guys think? Was it a good joke, or what were your thoughts? It seemed to be fairly well received from my vantage point, but I always like to ask the audience for their thoughts on the matter. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, good evening. What's going on, Robert? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Appreciate you. Next is Black Cloud, not White Cloud, but Black Cloud. And he says, Ron, thank you so much. See, I like it when comments start out this way. Versus, a lot of times it's like, Ron, what the Hades? But in this one, it's one of thanks. So we're off to a good start. This is my burnt Kentucky bluegrass bounced back and is better than ever from the advice you gave me. Do you think you could go over leveling tips for the fall? I want to try a compost sand mix this year. Okay, sure, awesome. So first of all, I'm glad that the lawn bounced back. I'm pretty sure I probably just told you just to wait and give it time for the most part. And because, grass is just going to do what grass does. Now, as far as tips for leveling, I'll lay out the process that I do, right? And I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but it's the way I do it, and I get pretty good results with it. So it's your call whether or not, you decide what you can take from it, what you want, and what you want to, not use, don't use. I'm a big fan of verticutting the lawn. So what you saw in the intro video, that's exactly how I like to top dress. So I like to verticut the lawn first. I'm sorry, not verticut. I like to aerate the lawn. I don't know if I said verticutting on the brain. I like to aerate the lawn first, aerate it first, to open up the lawn, reduce some compaction, and then that's a perfect time if you have any kind of fertilizer you want to put down. If you want to put down any kind of a biostimulant product like Essential G, great time to do it. If you have granular hydrotane, also a great time to do that. So I'm a big fan of aerating prior to top dressing. So aerate first, open up the lawn, apply your granular products, and then top dress, and then that's it. Just wait, water it and wait. Now, as far as how heavy to go with your top dressing, I am not a fan of going super heavy, especially with you having cool season grass. There's just really no reason to. I'd rather you do multiple top dresses that are spread out over the time your growing season, your fall growing season, than trying to do one super heavy one. And so, what should you be going for as far as thickness? I like anywhere between 1/4 to up to 1/2 inch. I try to go not much more than 1/2 inch whenever I'm doing a general top dress. Now, you may have some areas that take a bit more sand, a little more material than others, but as a general rule, 1/2 inch, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch is about where you want to be. All right, you'll know you've got there whenever you're using your leveling rake and you're seeing the grass tips, like a lot of them popping through in various parts of the lawn. If you look out on the lawn and all you see is just sand, you probably went too heavy. But if you're seeing the tips of the grass stick through, then you did it right. Okay, so that's the big thing as far as using a sand compost mix. I think it's a good idea. If you can find a 70-30 mix, that's awesome. If all you can get is 50-50, then you can go with that too. I would say my least favorite, I should say this, my least favorite for leveling would be to use 100% compost. So I would not do that. If you get all you can do is 100% masonry sand or river sand, like you can't get a blend anywhere, that can still work too. But what I would say is in that aeration step, so you aerate first, in that aeration step, go really heavy on whatever organic product you're putting down. So if you're putting down Essential G, go super heavy. You can't burn your lawn with that stuff. So, double, triple bag rate is absolutely fine. You're not going to hurt anything. So, and that can serve as your organic material of sorts, right? And then you top dress on top of it and just water it and wait. Other thing I'd say is once you've top dressed the lawn is to get out there with your leveling rake. If you can, once a day is good. Once a day is what I'd recommend, and just drag it. So you don't need to get out there and actually scrub the lawn. Like, don't try and work the material in. Just literally, you will lay it down and just walk behind the lawn with like maybe a drink in your hand or whatever it is, and just all you're doing is just dragging it. All you're trying to do is just kind of expose the grass tips. Just trying to get the grass to settle a bit more. Okay, so that's the only thing I'd say as far as a post top dressing step. And outside of that, just give it time and let Mother Nature do its thing, right? So keep it up, keep it going. If you have any other questions, let me know. But that is top dressing as I would do it in a nutshell. So hope you find that useful. All right, so next up is Thin Cut. Thin Cut says, evening, everyone. I broke down and bought a Ryobi backpack sprayer. Congrats on that. Congrats on the Ryobi. He says, picked up some PGR from Golf Course Lawn Store. Awesome, nice. So one thing you want to also get Thin Cut, you didn't mention it, is get yourself a good set of spray tips. So, this time of year, you're probably mainly spraying foliar products, so like your growth regulator, liquid fertilizer. So something like this, the T-Jet, the red tip, like this is what I would go with for, if you only get one to start with, get this one. And then for the fall, you have a choice between either the flood jet tip or the air induction tip. Either one of these guys, either one of these will work fine, okay? So it's really your call, but get yourself a set of tips. They're not that expensive. I mean, all in $20, $25 maybe, and you should be good to go. So congrats, sir. And all, the other thing I'd tell you is you get your brand new sprayer is to spend some time calibrating it. I've got a video on calibrating sprayers. It will work for all types of sprayers. It'll work for Ryobi. It'll work for Yard Master. It works for all of them. The process is the same no matter what. So give that a shot and let me know how you get on. Congrats again on the new hardware. All right, next up is Brewfuel Fishing. He says, great new video. I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. I believe it, I spent a lot of time working on that, probably way more time than I should have. But you know me, it's one of those things where it's not like something that's going to get published to YouTube. So I just I took a bunch of creative liberties with it and just had a lot of fun. Just small things. If you guys watch it again, you'll see there's a lot of, especially how the scenes play with the music and all this kind of stuff. That's some of the stuff I spent a lot of time with. So hopefully you guys liked it, because it's the new intro for the live stream, at least for a while, right? All right, Francisco Blanco's in the house. I had a childhood friend named Francisco. He says, hey, Ron, what's going on, Francisco? Hopefully you're doing well. All right, next up is NMS Auditor 1A. Ooh. He says, hey, Ron, sent you an email with a picture a few minutes ago. I dumped some soapy water on my lawn to test for armyworms and had none. That's good. I did have a bunch of little spiders come up. Any cause for concern? No, not really. I mean, kind of like moles. Spiders I don't think they can breathe underwater. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure they can't breathe underwater, not for a long time anyway. And so you probably just, they don't like being submerged. They came up to the surface. I wouldn't worry about it. Armyworms, yes. Grubs, yes. Spiders, Spiders aren't bad. They actually eat a lot of, they're actually pretty handy. They eat a lot of, other insects and that kind of thing. So they're even though people don't like them, they're cool to have around. Now I'm sure. Now here's the thing: I'm gonna get blowback for that comment, because I'm sure there's gonna be someone that's gonna tell me moles have a very big, they do a ton for the environment, and they help they do all these beneficial things for your lawn. I don't like them in my lawn. That one mole tried to get in there, and he found out. Got some. All right. Next up is Black Cloud. He says, NMS Otter, I will look at the pictures at the end of the show, and I'll answer you. I'll give you some feedback, but I don't have them up right now, so that's why I'm not showing them. But I will check them out. NMS Otter. All right. Black Cloud says, after scalp, dethatch, aerate, and overseeding. Thanks, brother. Yeah, that sounds. Let me see. Scalp, dethatch, aerate, and yeah, that sounds good. I mean, the thing with dethatching, the one thing I would say with that, right? Anything like that, go lighter. Like, don't get too aggressive, especially if you have done it before in the past. If you've done it before in the past, and you shouldn't really have to go crazy aggressive. Like a lighter dethatcher or turf rake more regularly. I am a fan of doing that more so than getting out there and just setting the tines or setting the dethatcher as deep as it can go and just really just ripping tearing the grass up, just making a huge mess. So a little bit, to quote Roland from Alad, a little bit and often is better. And I've tested that even on a grass that traditionally you would not think would tolerate being turf raked, being scarified. It's the Bermuda tolerates it just fine. You just can't be crazy aggressive about it. You know what I mean? You gotta literally set it to where it doesn't hit the dirt, and just have it where it's tickling it. And you do that, once a week. And when you first start out, all the time, but then you get to a once a week schedule, and it's gonna do a great job keeping debris out of the lawn. You're not gonna really take a hit to the color or anything like that. So sounds really good. Black Cloud. Let me know if I can help with anything else. Oh yeah, and you sit, and here you go. Thin Cut says, also picked up the TJET tips. See? So I just needed to read further down before I answered. So good, sounds like you're in good shape. All right, LG is up next. He says, let's go. Let's go, LG. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. I appreciate you, as always, hanging out in the live stream. Next up is Brian Donahue. He says, I scalped and aerated and leveled the last couple of days for the first time. I'm scared. Why are you scared? Why are you scared? Why are you afraid? It's fine. The grass is just going to do what the grass does. It sounds like nothing you did sounds like crazy. I mean, I think you're in good shape. So you scalp to help thin out the turf, clean up, take some debris out. You aerated, open up the lawn, open up the soil, and then you leveled. Good stuff. I didn't hear you put anything in between the leveling and the aeration, but you don't have to do that. I just like to because it's a great time to fast track products or whatever you want to put down into the soil. But you did it right from my book. Did it right from my book. Okay, Thin Cut. Patrick is talking to Thin Cut. So next up we have DW Davis. He says, thanks for being here and sharing your expertise. You are very, very welcome, DW Davis. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out and spend some of your Friday evening with me talking about lawn care. It's always a good time. It's always a good time. All right, Daryl's in the house for Bermuda. He says, happy Friday, everyone. I got my carbonized PN. I'm going to go fill in bare spots in the backyard. Nice. Nice, Daryl. I dig it. I dig it, man. Let me know how you get on. I think you will enjoy the product. It's a great product. JG's in the house along with LG. So we got JG and LG. So we got the dynamic duo, which is always good. And then Brew Cruise Fishing says, in regards to your comment, I have a Sunjoe, which has a Verticut blade cartridge and power rate cartridge. Not nearly as nice as an Owlet system, but got the job done. Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Owlet, the nice thing about it is you just have more control, right? You can you have a lot of control over how precise you can set the heights. The biggest benefit, and it sounds really simple, but the fact there's a grass catcher on it, the fact there's a grass catcher, so where all the crap that you're getting out of the lawn, out of the soil, out of the canopy goes into a bin that you can easily dump out. Huge game changer. Like for me, there's no way I would I would verticut my lawn or turf rake my lawn regularly, definitely not as often as I do if it were not having some kind of a basket. But yeah, to your point, the Sunjoe can get the job done, and it's also a fraction of the cost, right? So you can't really compare. You're comparing apples and oranges. So, but I'm glad you got a good result, sir. Keep it up. Keep up the great work. Okay, Ryan OBX is here. He says, hey, Ron, new subscriber here from the Outer Banks. Welcome. Appreciate you. I have a 4-month-old Arden 15 sod. Should sod? Arden 15 came in sod. I thought it was just only seed, but okay, maybe. He says, I laid it on top of sand before I knew better. I added humic, shale, ore, good microbial, etc. Yes, I didn't realize that Arden 15 was available in sod form. I thought it was only a seed, but again, it's possible someone's growing it. I didn't realize that. But I'm not sure what your question is. So you got the Arden 15, you laid that down, and then you added humic and some microbials. Okay. I mean, if it's growing, if the grass is growing, you like the way it looks, just keep rolling with it. But again, I didn't realize. I've never heard of Arden 15 being available in sod form. But again, it's possible. Anything's possible. Okay, next up is Motivated Moments. He says, good evening, Brother Ron and everyone. Coach Jay, Zone 9 Life. What's going on, Brother Jay? Thanks for coming to hang out. Motivated Moments, as always. And then next up, we got a good question here. So DW Davis says, would like to hear your thoughts on dragging with a cocoa fiber mat. Is it worth it? I don't know what is a cocoa fiber mat? I have no idea what that is. Let's ask the Google really quick. That should be an easy question with an easy answer. A coconut fiber mat? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I mean, what I'm looking at here is like strands of stuff, which I don't think is what you're talking about. I don't know. If you're talking about dragging with a mat, I don't, as a means of doing what? Like settling top dressing material? Here's the thing, even though a leveling rake is what is, in my opinion, the most efficient way of doing it, you can use, most efficient manual way of doing it. If you have like a four-wheeler, you can build a drag, and that's even easier, right? But I've seen people do take like, those rubberized mats, like the industrial rubberized mats, the really heavy ones. They have like little holes in them all through them. I've seen people use that to drag as a drag on their lawn to help settle top dressing mix. That really can work. A broom can work. I don't know what this cocoa fiber mat is, but if it's anything like that, it can work as well too, as long as it has enough weight, right? You want something that's got a little bit of weight to it so it can help, also help plane and drag the material in. If something that's too light, it'll just kind of skim on the surface and not do a whole lot for you. But if it meets that criteria where it's got some weight to it, I don't see why you wouldn't get a good result with it. You know what I mean? So give it a shot and let me know. If you have a link to it, drop it in the comments and I'll take a look here as I get further down. All right, next up is Steve Jackson. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron." What's going on, Steve? Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate you as always, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Devin is here. All right, you're here early, man. You guys must have got done with the course early tonight. He says, "I feel your pain. Mondays and Tuesdays are our agronomy days. Sometimes Mother Nature doesn't play nice, and we have to work with the golf ops to move tee start times to get our agronomic practices in." I hear you, man, dude. It's because you know what it's like when you're planning it. I had my sprinkler heads ready to go. I had my flags and my frisbees out there ready to mark everything, and part of me just knew that it was going to rain the next day, right? Because I looked at the forecast and it says it has 70% chance of rain of a thunderstorm in the morning. I was like, hey, 70% means 30% it might not happen, right? And there's been tons of times when it says it was going to rain and nothing happened. But as you guys can see, I did get rain. Unfortunately, it did happen, and you can tell for that to get like that to where I've got little puddles forming. It was the better part of an inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches of rain that came down. So quite a bit of rain. Definitely not where you could get out there and run heavy equipment all over the lawn without making a worse mess. So such is life, right? Whatever. First world problems. All right. Peg Junk is up next. He says, "Ron, so you want to top dress, but our Delta curveball with weather. What are your tips when you're forced to improvise?" What do you mean? So I guess if you're having a service do it, they're going to cancel. They're not going to come out there and top dress in the middle of a rainstorm. They're just not going to do that. It's not. I mean, it's not going to produce a good result. It's not good for their equipment. It's not safe. There's a lot of reasons they're not going to do that. If you're doing it yourself, I would just wait, really, because here's the problem. Like if you've ever tried spreading wet sand, it's several multitudes or orders of magnitude harder than dry sand. So if you've got, your pile of masonry sand out there, once it gets rained on and gets really soaked, it's not gonna spread nearly as easy as a lighter, as a sand that's dry, is what I'm trying to say. So I would reschedule. I would wait. I really would not force it. If there's anything, if you get even your aeration, I wouldn't aerate like a soaking, like sopping wet lawn. I would just reschedule. Here's the thing. The good thing about it, Peg Junk, is if you get a bunch of rain on the day you're supposed to top dress and you haven't aerated, the following day, assuming that works for your schedule, you're going to get a really good result when you aerate, right? Because the lawn is going to be softer, so you should get, you should be able to pull much better cores with a moist soil. But I would wait. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't force the matter. If it were me, I wouldn't force the matter. You're not going to like the results that you get if you do that. JK is in the house, is looking to adding a groomer to my Greensmaster 1000. Do you think there's enough benefit to using a groomer to be worth a $500 investment? So here's what I would say about that, JK. Groomers are really designed. Hang on a second. I forgot to put Ben as the show sponsor, so let me take care of that really quick. So groomers are really designed for very low heights of cuts. They're designed for greens, right? So, really for cutting heights, a third of an inch, so 0.30 or lower. So for most people, you're not going to get much out of a groomer if you're cutting it, half an inch, you're cutting it 3/4 of an inch. You're just not going to get much out of it. What you don't want to do is try and set it too low, and where you're using it as almost like a verticutter of sorts. It's not designed for that level of wear. So for me, the answer is no. On most home lawns, 99.999% of them, even the ones that are being real mowed, groomers are just really not necessary. Now, if you have a green, and like a legit green, not like, your lawn that's at, half an inch, you're calling it a green, but a legit green where you're cutting, 2/10, something like that, or lower, like in that case, then yeah, having a groomer can be useful. But if the mower that you had didn't come with it, I wouldn't go out and spend the money. And again, $500 isn't terribly bad, because when I actually looked into it for my 1600, it was a lot more money than that. It was way more than $500 to do it. So if you needed one, $500 isn't a bad price. But for most people, you don't need one. You know, you do. Most people that get them, they get one. They try it out for a little while. They realize it's not working very well, and they just raise it up, and it's like an ornament on the mower at that point. You know what I mean? So if it were me, I really wouldn't bother with it. Your call, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Most residential lawns don't really need it. You're not cutting low enough to get the benefits out of it. All right, we have another super chat here, one from Cedric G. We run down here and grab that really quick. Thanks for that, Cedric. Appreciate you.
Received.
He says, Big Ron, super chat received. You're right. You did get one. He says, my Bermuda is super green and very thick from following your program over the years. Glad to hear that. However, I'm starting to get some scalping with my Greensmaster 1000. Is it time for a high to cut, reset, or verticut? Yes, either one of those can work. Either one can work. So if you have a verticutter, you have access to a verticutter. That's good because that's going to be a little bit less aggressive, less invasive, the lawn's not going to look as bad versus scalping it. But either one can work. The only thing I would say is if you verticut it, get all the debris out. If you scalp it, obviously, get all the debris out. Don't scalp the lawn and leave all that trash in the lawn. So if you scalp it, get that out as well too, right? So yes, it's something that's worth doing. This time of year is when you're going to start seeing it. Really, July and into August, you're going to start finding that you're cutting a lot, but you're going to start getting more and more scalping if you don't do something to thin it out at some point. So give that a shot. Let me know if I can help with anything else. Really appreciate the super chat. And I think you bested Ben, so we will now make you the show sponsor. How about that? Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. You can tell all your friends, family, say, hey man, go check out the show at the 36th minute of the top of the first hour, and look, that's me. My name's in lights. So you got that. I appreciate that, sir. Hopefully that helps. And if you need anything else, do let me know. Let me know. All right, let me find the next question while I'm waiting here. I'll put some music on, take a sip of my water. If you guys wouldn't mind touching that like button ever so gently, I'd really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a great way to support the channel. Actually, we have another super chat here. Let me grab that. One from LG. All right, thanks so much for that, LG.
Super chat received.
He says, at Ron Henry, I dig the new intro. Got a lifetime supply of Turfplex delivered an hour ago. Using the liquid fertilizers in the summer has been so much better than using granular ferts. Wu-Tang forever. That's right. All right, I'm glad that you got your order, that made it to you safe and sound, LG. That's pretty sweet. And you're right, liquids, once you get used to using them, you get over the hurdle. I mean, you were never worried about using liquids, but I mean, once you get over the hurdle and the fear that some people have of using a liquid fertilizer product, it's a game changer, man. It really saves you so much time and energy as far as, you're able to mix a bunch of things and do a bunch of applications of several things all in one go, which is really awesome. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to squeeze you in. I think I can. I can do Cedric and LG because you guys both did super chats, and I think they were both the same amount. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And now always the fun part is finding where I left off. Okay. All right, here we are. Next up is Shauna W. It says, can you tell me the rates to mix Celsius and Certainty together for spot spraying 3,000 square feet? I don't have the spoons that came with for measuring them. Can I weigh by grams? You'd have to check the label, Sean. Shauna, I don't have it off the top of my head. I mean, for what you said, 3,000 square feet okay, so if you're spot spraying, you're not spot spraying the entire 3,000 square feet, right? So you're only going to mix up a little bit of it. I can tell you that, I could probably show it better on this camera. So I'm not sure it's going to show up on this lens, but there it will. Okay, so right here, you see the 0.45 that's on there, that level. I think this is 4.5. Yep. That's the amount of the product you could use for if you're mixing 4 gallons of it. So I don't know how much spot spraying you're using, so it's hard to answer. For Celsius, if you're mixing up 2 gallons, what you can, if you're mixing up a couple gallons of it, you could do 3 small scoops. If you want like a slightly lower rate, if you want a heavier rate, you could go 2 of the 2 big scoops. So 3 small scoops or 2 of the big scoops. But really for the rate that I'm familiar with most for Celsius is the rate that fits for 4 gallons, which again is the 0.45 marking on here. Again, you'll see on the cup, which you don't have, is 0.45. So check the label. It'll probably tell you what that equates to in grams, so you can measure it out. But yeah, I've always just used the measuring cup, so I don't have it off the top of my head because I just use the cup. So sorry, I'm not more used to that. You're gonna have to check the label. For the certainty, I can tell you either 2 big scoops or 3 small scoops, depending on which way you want to go, how bad the sedges are in your lawn. I get really good results with 3 small scoops, so it's really up to you. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you as far as Celsius goes, but hopefully you'll check the label out and you'll be able to figure things out. If you have questions after you check the label, feel free to shoot me an email here, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll do my best to help you out. Appreciate you watching and appreciate the question. Okay, next up is Wayne Crow. Wayne Crow, he says, hey Ron, I have Bermuda. What growth regulator do you recommend? Well, the growth regulator I recommend for Bermuda is also the same growth regulator that I recommend for zoysia and for Kentucky bluegrass and for ryegrass. And even if you have St. Augustine, you can use it on that too. And it is this. It's called Primo Max. It is, this is from Syngenta. It's got, the nice thing about this is you've got the built-in measuring cup, which until you actually use this, the amount of time it saves you is like, that alone makes this worth it. So Primo Max is what I would say go with for Bermuda. If you have hybrid, which is what most people have in their lawn, you start at the quarter, the full rate is 0.25 ounces per 1,000 square feet. All right. So what that means, if you have a 4-gallon backpack sprayer and you are going to cover 4,000 square feet, I'm just doing it to make my math easy for myself. So 4,000 square feet, you got a 4-gallon backpack sprayer. If you were going out at the full rate, you would use 1 fluid ounce, right? So you would use 0.5 twice. You do that, you measure this up twice and dump that in the tank twice, and you'll get a good result doing that. If you have the time, to get out there twice a month, so first of the month, the middle of the month, what I'd say is apply it at half rate. So you use the same 4 gallons of water, same 4-gallon backpack sprayer, and instead only apply half an ounce. So you just go here at this 0.5 rate, right? That is going to get you, that's going to minimize the chance of tip burn. You're still going to get a great result, great regulation. There's the only negative to doing it that way is time. You have to get out there twice a month instead of once per month. So if that doesn't bother you, you got the lawn anyway, then why not, right? Why not? But Primo, this is what I would recommend. We have this in stock at the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you order today, it will ship tomorrow morning. So hopefully that helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. And in the description of the video or of the product, you'll find a video that talks all about it, how to apply it. The same stuff I just kind of covered there over the last few minutes, but I actually show doing it, right? So hopefully that helps, Wayne. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I will do my best to help you out. All right, Steve Jackson is here. He says, happy Friday, Ron. What is the best verticutter to use during the growing season? What did you use before getting your Allet? Thanks. So there's not really a best verticutter. What I've been able to find locally, because what I use for verticutting is a slit seeder, which really isn't a verticutter. You can use it to do that. You can use it for verticutting, but it's not a verticutter in the true sense of the word, because it really has almost like not solid blades, but like fail, like not solid blades. The ones that I had they would flail. So it's really closer to being more kind of almost like a dethatcher, but I set it up nice and high to where it wasn't too aggressive as far as, you know, how aggressive it got as far as material that it took out of the lawn. So their Billy Goat makes one, Klassen makes one, and as far as, so I've used that before. What did I use before? I think I used a Billy Goat this earlier this season in the spring, and then the time that the lawn was verticut before that, I had a service come out and do it. So they brought out like a lawn care, like a tractor, and they had like an actual verticutting, I don't know what you'd call it, like this big, huge piece of equipment that would lay down on the lawn, and the tractor would pull it, and it would verticut the lawn. Actually, you know what? I can actually show you the video of it. So I can't show you. I'll send you the link to it. You can see it. Yes. Here we go. I think this is the video from many moons ago, 2018. Here's the thing, Steve. When I did it in 2018, it scarred me so much that I didn't do it again until this year. That's how much I disliked it, because the colossal mess that it can make, right? But I'll send the video here for you to take a look at in case you are interested, at Steve Jackson. That's the Verticutting video. You'll see the equipment that I use. But again, a Klassen or Billy Goat, both of them make equipment that you can use for verticutting. The Owlet is better because it's an actual verticutting cartridge, and you've got a catcher, a grass catcher, to catch all the debris once you are done. All right, next up is Demir. JK says, absolutely. Demir talking to JK, he says, absolutely. I use a, he's saying different to me, because I use a groomer all the time. Don't have it so deep that it's verticutting, but have it enough that it's standing up the turf and cutting through low-laying rhizomes, very beneficial. So there you go. So give it a shot. Give it a shot. I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people that have gotten one and have tried it and they didn't like it and they got raised up and never used it. But Devin is saying that he's a huge fan of using a groomer. So again, $500 is actually a steal for getting one. I'm not sure if you're getting like a used one or you're getting a really, really good deal on it. If you can, for $500, it's not worth passing up. You know what I mean? If you want to give it a shot. Worst case, you can always just raise it up to where it's not in the it's not being used. Because when I got a quote for doing one on my mower to retrofit one, it was something like a little over $2,000. It was expensive. It's expensive to do it. It's like a brand new Verticut, a grooming unit, and then all the gears and everything else you needed to be able to retrofit it to a 1600. It was expensive, and it wasn't worth it to me. But yeah, give it a shot. Sounds like Devin is of the opinion that it's the way to go, and I mean he does this for a living, so I would give it a shot. Give it a go if you'd like. But I've heard it both ways. I've heard it both ways. More so from people that end up not using it after they get one. But give it a shot and let us know how you do. All right, next up is Jose Fernandez. He says, Ron, I've been mowing every 2 to 3 days, and I'm starting to see brown lines where the McLean's wheels pass through. I am changing up my pattern every mow. Is there anything else I can do? Okay, so you're starting to see brown lines. So if you're even though you're changing up your pattern, if you're making the same passes over the same area, then you are gonna get lines. So I got the same thing with my True Cut. That is the one that, and again, I'm not gonna tell you to go buy another mower, but that is the one of the biggest benefits of a drum propelled mower, like any kind of greens mower, any of the Owlet mowers, like any of those. Because here's the thing, even with the greens mower, right? If you mow often enough and you go on the same lines, the same stripes, like you're trying to burn your stripes in, what'll happen is you will get a little bit of discoloration on the edge, like where you're always making the same pass. But because visually there's like a light area and a dark area, you don't see it nearly as much. You know what I mean? So it's still there, but you really don't see it. But whereas something like a McLean or a True Cut, where you've got like some inboard propulsion wheels, those are very, very apparent. Like visually, you can definitely see those if you're mowing the same, even if you're mowing the same pattern. But if you're mowing in a given pattern, if you're mowing the same lines, you are going to start to see that, unfortunately. So your options are change the pattern, deal with it, because even changing the pattern is you're just kind of moving it around. But if you're fine with altering the pattern slightly, that will make it to where it doesn't show up as much. But the big thing is if you can get a mower that has a rear drum that propels it, you're going to see a huge difference in, one, the quality of cut, but also like a lot of the tire marks are going to go away. You're not going to see them nearly as often, as much as you do with the McLean and the True Cut. True Cut, McLean, California Trimmer, all three of them are guilty of doing that. So if you mow a lot. So sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but at least you know now what's happening, and that is completely normal. Completely normal. All right, JK's up next. He says, hey Ron, when are you going to do a putting green in your backyard? I don't think it'll ever happen, man. Here's the thing. Before I can even consider doing a putting green, I got to get Devin back on the show, because I got to ask him, hey, Devin, if I were a glutton for punishment, right, and I wanted to consume an hour of my life every day, well, maybe not an hour, but I have to mow every single day, to where it's a commitment where I have to do it every day. How would one go about constructing a green from scratch? So once I hear from him on how to do that, once we can get him on the live stream again, then I'll have the knowledge. Now, will I apply it? I don't know. Probably not, because the part of my fear too is, JK, I've seen, like, I look at some of the YouTubers online, or you see other people that decide they want a putting green in their lawn, And they start out saying they want to do that, and then they take a section of their lawn, they turn it into a putting green, and if you don't keep up with it, it looks ugly, right? So you have like the rest of your lawn looks okay, and then you have the area that was once a putting green, and it just doesn't look as good. So if I'm going to do it, I want to know that I'm really going to be able to commit to the process, to where I'm gonna stick with it, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I mean, doing last season, having to mow every single day when I was at half an inch kind of did me in, to where this season 5/8 to 3. I'm on like that 3/4 of an inch, below 3/4 of an inch life, and I'm loving it. Lawn looks good. I can mow every other day, sometimes every 2 days in a pinch, and it's not that bad. But a green is really everyday mowing if you want us to say nice. So more work that I'm willing to put in at this time, given everything else I got going on. Okay, next up is Rich V. He says, "Hey Ron, can a Yard Mastery backpack sprayer be used in the rain? I was thinking of putting down my monthly hydrotane liquid, but a rainstorm could catch me before I'm done." Yeah, because it's got the door, the battery for the battery compartment it has to have a rubber gasket on it. It's sealed, so it's not like water getting in there is highly unlikely. Actually, in my video where I did a comparison of them, you actually did that. I actually did a test of that. So I think I did a backpack comparison video. Actually, I know I did. I'm trying to find it so I can send it to you really quick. But that's one of the tests that I did with I showed on a Chapin. One of the negatives is where the battery is mounted, how it's exposed, that when you're filling the tank, if water runs down, it can get into the battery, mess the battery up. But I showed with a flow zone where you got the sealed battery compartment, or a gasketed battery compartment, the same is true for the Yard Mastery. It's gasketed. So short of falling in a swimming pool, you're going to be just fine. You know what I mean? And also think too, unlike, even better than the flow zone, the Yard Mastery one is on behind you. So you've got a closed compartment, right? That's got a gasket, and then it's on your back. So that's also preventing water from getting in there. But yeah, outside of that, to answer your question, you should be just fine. If you want to get out there and do that, by all means, go for it. There shouldn't be any negative to doing that, other than you just getting wet. Be sure to have someone take a picture. Once you get done from being out there and soaking in the lawn. So yeah, here's the video that I was going to show. I was talking about as far as the backpack sprayer comparison, Rich V. And in this video, I do exactly what you're about to probably go do, which is get the sprayer wet and see and show the negatives of doing that. Backpack sprayer comparison. There we go. That video right there. That will you can, if you want to watch it before you do it, that will show you. Okay, next up is RG. He says, "Ron, did a soil test and my calcium was high. What will happen if it is this high, and how do I correct it?" Sort of chemistry question here, haha. So calcium is not one of the calcium, sulfur. There's another one that's in the middle, like the supporting cast, are not ones that I personally try and do anything about. Like on it's more the macros and micros RG. If you want to, you can be careful if you have any products you're applying. If you want to avoid putting more calcium in, that would be good. But as far as actually doing anything about it, I've never found the need to really to address that itself. It's kind of difficult to. And I've looked at a lot of soil test results, and I've never looked at one that could happen, but I've never looked at one up to this point where high calcium was the culprit for why the grass didn't look great. Normally it's the macros. It's something it's normally a combination of pH being off and the macros not being where they need to be. And then following that, if the color is not as nice as it could be, the micros. So micros, but pH being the most important out of all of them. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't worry about it. Is what I'm trying to get to. Would not worry about it. It's not something that really should matter, or it's going to make a difference in how your lawn looks. We got another super chat here before I run down and get CRs. I recognize her real quick. So one here from Robert Mahoros. He says, here we go.
Super chat received.
He says, I've noticed some not a lot of blades on my Xeon have gone brown as dead. That's not good. I have a Sunjo with 2 different cartridges, small tines or solid blades. What would you recommend to use? If you want to go the less aggressive amount or route, go with this small spring tines. That's like a Scarify or a turf rake. don't be crazy aggressive on it. Robert, if I've never used a sun jet, so I don't know how high you can set the cultivation depth, but if you can raise it up to where it's just tickling it initially, do that first. So set it high, make a pass, and then see what it looks like. If the grass is like it's tolerating it pretty well, you're not making a big mess out of things, and you're getting some debris that's coming up. If you want to go a little bit, step it down and go a little bit deeper, that's fine. But don't start out super aggressive. If you want to verticut, you can. That's going to be more aggressive than turf raking it. Without pictures, it's difficult to see exactly what you're dealing with. But again, this time of year, for everyone in the sound of my voice, anyone that cuts their lawn a lot, that is out there real mowing it or just in general just mowing your lawn a lot, it's going to get thick. And this time of the year, you're going to start seeing scalping in places you normally wouldn't see it, or that you weren't seeing earlier in the season because of how thick it is. So it's your call, Robert. You can start with a turf rake and then go to verticutting if you want. I mean, either one of those will work. Start because of how because you have zoysia. That's why I didn't tell you to go straight to the verticutter, because zoysia is a lot slower to recover from injury. Let's start with the less aggressive first, and then move to the verticutting if you're still not liking the results that you're getting with that. So hope that helps, sir. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. If you have any other questions, let me know. CR is here. She celebrates 7 months of membership. We got to clap it up for that. Thank you so much, CR. Appreciate all the support. He says, hi, Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. With all the rain here in Georgia, I need to put down some fungus prevention application. Any product suggestions? Not necessarily. So a bunch of rain doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out and apply a fungicide, CR. If you've never done a fungicide this season, if you've gotten to mid-July and there's not any disease problems in your lawn, you're probably going to be okay, to be completely honest. Unless you're actively trying to treat a problem that's there, you're probably going to be just fine. If you are the latter, right, to where you do have a problem, you've got some brown patch or something going on in your lawn, I am a big fan of Headway because it's two different fungicides in one. You get azoxystrobin and propiconazole. I will actually show you versus just telling you about it. So you go to the golf course lawn store and then go to shop and fungicide insecticide section. In there, as you scroll down, you will see the top shelf has got your insecticides, and what I'm referring to as far as your fungicide is this product, Headway G. This is a granular, so it's super easy to apply. All you need is your broadcast sprayer to put it down. And this is what, if you have a need to apply fungicide, this is what I would use. So hope that helps. Again, we have that in stock, so feel free to pick some up. And just check the rate. Check the label for the rate you should use. Also in the description, the product description on the store, there's also some rates that I've used that I've gotten good results with. So feel free to check that out as well. But again, if you don't have a reason to apply a fungicide, like you're not actually trying to treat something, again, mid-July, you're probably okay. You're probably okay. But if you want to put one down, Headway is what I would say to go with. All right. Brooklyn Boy is in the house. He says, hoop poop opinion. I've never used it. So I can't really form an opinion on it. It's probably okay. I mean, it's probably really rich in organic material, right? It's like a light fertilization. I've never used it though, so I can't really speak to it, Brooklyn Boy. So it's probably going to be fine if you're looking for a really decent organic product. It's an option. It's something you could try out, but I can't speak from experience about what kind of results you would get with it. All right, Logan Brunner is in the house. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. What's going on, Logan? Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you taking some time to hang out in the live stream. All right, and then Ben Raham says, nice work on the intro. Showing different processes is a good look. I think so. I mean, you figure, most people just watching me mow my lawn, I mean, as fun as it is, and for having you guys point out that I missed that one spot the first time I turned the mower, over and over and over every week, I figure why not, one, give it a more professional look and give you guys, if someone is brand new to the live stream, it gives them something fun and interesting to watch while they're waiting for the show to start. And it was a fun little project. I like editing video, so it was something fun to play with where I don't have to talk and I can just literally just lay some nice music down and play with it, try to make the music and the story I'm trying to tell fit each other, which is bit of a challenge, but I think I pulled it off. I think so. All right, Mary J is here. She says, "Hey Ron, Henry. Earlier I said I've been practicing the exercises you taught me in the morning in my front yard while my neighbors are going to work. They know I mean business now. Yeah, it sounds good, Mary. Sounds good. Exercise, it's good. It's always a good idea to get out there and keep the juices flowing. Work on your fitness. And tell you squats. I tell you, it's squats. You can get just doing air squats. You can get in decent shape. Get a good workout doing that. And then you can start incorporating burpees and." Before you know it, you'll be a lean, mean lawn care machine, right? That's the goal. That's what we're after. Okay, Ryan OBX is here. I think I've already answered your question. Oh, actually, maybe not. No, I didn't. He said, "Hey, Ron, you subscribe from Outer Banks. I have 4-month-old RN15 sod laid over sand. I mended it since and it's doing well, just not thick. How should I approach the fall and next growing season?" Okay. So the fall, if you have Bermuda, it's that's when the grass is beginning to fall off. Like the fall is not really our go time. Like now is when the grass is really growing like crazy. In the fall, it's going to begin falling off a bit. So the things that I would say that you're going to be planning to do in the fall are get a soil test done. Reason being is even though you're not really doing a lot of fertilization in the fall months, what a soil test will tell you is where your pH is, and that kind of thing. And that's useful because if you need to go out and apply a like a lime product, or you need to say your pH is low, your soil's acidic, it's letting you know to do that now and in the fall. And you have plenty of time for it to react, so that when springtime rolls around, your pH will be in a much better spot so that you're good to go. You can get more out of your fertilizer apps. The only other thing I'd say for the fall that you need to be starting to think about are your pre-emergent applications. In the fall time is a good time to do pre-emergent in the spring and fall. And for the fall, you can use prodiamine. That will work fine. What I am a fan of, and unfortunately you can't really get it anymore, is at least not in a smaller quantities, is a product called Coastal for pre-emergent. It is prodiamine, imazaquin, and oh my god, what's the one? The last one starts with an S. I don't know what I'm drawing a blank here. I haven't spoken about Coastal in a while. What's the third ingredient in Coastal? It's going to drive me. Simazine, I think is what it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Simazine. So it's imazaquin, simazine, and prodiamine. So that combination is very good because the thing that we have the most issues with in warm season lawns, or the thing that we dislike the most, is POA. At least for me, anyway, right? And prodiamine is really good about helping to suppress that. But the simazine and imazaquin are both post-emergent herbicides that will, if there's any POA that's already germinated, it will knock that back and will help you. Will keep your lawn for the most part POA free. Now, if you don't want to do either of those and your budget permits, the Cadillac product to use, or one of the Cadillac products you can use on warm season grass on Bermuda, is a product called Spectacle Flow. Now, this stuff it's expensive, but this is about as good as you can get as far as it's top tier. It's a top shelf pre-emergent. In other words, like this by itself will take care of POA. Like you're not gonna have POA in your lawn and all throughout the fall and into the springtime. It's an excellent product, but it is quite costly. I think this is north of $200 something, almost maybe $250 depending on where you buy it. I forget exactly what pricing is on this, but it's expensive. It's more expensive than Coastal, but this is a great option if your budget can swing it. But outside of that, I just say a soil test, and then plan for pre-emergent in the fall. That is all. That's all I would say that you really need. So yeah, nothing else really outside of that going into the fall months. Okay, next up, Mary says, also, do you have a recommendation for goosegrass in a new Bermuda lawn? Yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to think of a post-emergent herbicide for goosegrass. I'm trying to think. Celsius won't. I'm pretty sure neither Celsius or Certainty will. I don't know if Revolver will do goosegrass. The best thing is to prevent it in the first place, Mary. You know what I mean? If you can. I know you have brand new sod, and I'm not sure how new your Bermuda lawn is, but if say it was put down or installed, say in the spring. This fall you could do pre-emergent, or even next spring you could do pre-emergent, and that's going to go a long way for preventing goosegrass. But let me see if Revolver is labeled for goosegrass. I don't. I know Celsius isn't, but Revolver might be. I'm not. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so Revolver will do it, but it's expensive. You know what I mean? So you're talking Wow, $311. It's expensive. It's gone up. The price on it's gone up. It didn't used to be that expensive. So it's an expensive product, but that will get rid of it in warm season grass. You know what I mean? So I'll send you a link here to it in case you're interested in getting it. But again, it is quite costly. If you can just pull it, I might just do that and just make sure you get a pre-emergent down. In the fall, then again in the spring, and then you should have a lot less issues with goosegrass the next season. It's just given the price of it, it's a lot of money to spend for something you're probably not going to use that often. But if you are interested in it, by all means, you can take a look at it right there. Sent you a link, so hope that helps. All right, Todd Gleaves is in the house. He says, "All right, Ron." He's talking serious. "All right, Ron. I pulled the trigger and got my first real mower, a 25-inch McLean. We will clap it up for that. We'll do that. We'll do it. All right." He says, "It's an 11 blade, needs sharpening, but it cuts. Will also pick up a grass catcher." That sounds good, Todd. So the only thing with that 11 blade, you're going to want to keep your cutting height a little bit shorter. So when I say shorter, like 3/4 of an inch is about as high as you're going to want to go. So really between 3/4 of an inch and 1/2 inch is where you're going to want to be for that 11 blade. You know what I mean? So otherwise, yeah, that's going to be the height that I would target for given that you have an 11 blade. And yeah, pick up a grass catcher, get it freshened up, and you should be good to go. You guys want to see Todd's mower? This is it right here. And I don't know if Dwayne's in the house tonight, but since we are on the topic of McLean's, he sent me some pictures. He got like a steal on a McLean that he picked up here. So take a look at this. You guys want to see a really clean mower? So this is it. It was boxed. So you see it was brand new. It's a 20-inch. And next up, you can see it's still got the plastic on it in great shape, looking brand new and shiny. And then again, pretty much a brand new mower that he got for a really good price. He's got to get a roller for that. So reach out to the guys at Real Rollers to hook you up, Dwayne. You're gonna need a roller for that. And of course, no new mower would be complete without the obligatory orbit video, right? Got to do that. So looks awesome, Dwayne. If you're watching, I said I would show it in the live stream, so I did. But Todd, congrats again. Both of you guys got on that McLean Life. Only thing I would say, if you're cutting height, plan for 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 to 1/2 an inch, somewhere in that space to get the most out of that 11 blade. All right, and we have the mole hitman, Mr. Alex Lee, in the house. He says, "Mount up." So hopefully you guys saw again, Alex was the guy that he delivered lawn care justice in the video. So if you guys haven't seen that, I'll post it. It was a fun video. Some of you guys have been asking in the YouTube stories how I got rid of the mole. And if you're so interested and you want a good laugh, then check this video out, because we had a lot of fun making it, and it's good for a laugh. So don't watch it now because you're obviously in the live stream, but afterwards, if you guys feel like supporting the channel and want a funny video to watch, then by all means check this out. By all means, check this out. All right, next up is at Thin Cut. He's saying, at Ben Raham, he says, "I had my right rotator cuff repaired last year. I bought a suicide knob for my rider. It helped a lot." Very, very, very nice. And Alex, again, thanks, man. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream tonight, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Joseph Roberts saying, "I love the mole video." Yeah, man, it was a ton of fun to make. Man, listen, we did so many takes of so many of those scenes. We were laughing the whole time making it. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time making it. I appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate that. And if you guys like it, share it with someone else. I mean, even if they're not into lawn care, they might find it funny. You know what I mean? So share it with any friends or family or anyone else that you think might like the video. So give that, pass it around. I could use the support. I can help it out. I could use the support, and your help will go a long way. Joseph's like, Marshall says, lawn justice. That's right. That's what he got. He got some lawn justice. I don't have Excalibur around here. I don't know where it is. I think it's over in the living room somewhere. But I'll have to maybe put it up on the wall somewhere as a prop, so you guys can see. You can see the stick that Alex used to deliver justice to the mole. All right. Brooklyn Boy says 187 on the Crip Mole, straight up gangster. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He wanted. It was his idea to add the twirl. He didn't just want to hit it. He wanted to add a little twirl, add a little sauce to it, right? So there you go. I'm glad you guys had a lot of fun with it and really enjoyed it. He says, Mo video was great. Were you doing anything specific to prevent the next one? Not really. What I'm going to be doing is just to the same stuff I've been doing. I mean, is doing my best to eliminate their food source with a aceleprant and insecticide. And here's the thing: here's what part of I think is the issue, right? Moles like soil that's softer. It's easier for them to burrow or tunnel through. And the front lawn, with all the rain we've been getting, literally, if I took like a screwdriver, I could, without much effort, I could literally just sink it all the way in, all the way up to the handle, without not hardly any effort whatsoever. So I think it was it enjoyed finding a lawn that was easy, nice and easy to burrow through. And outside of that, here's the thing: this is the first mole I've had in the almost 8 years since I've been working on the lawn. So it's been 1 in 8 years, right? Hopefully it's 1 and done. We'll see. But yeah, I'm not planning on really changing up too much. If it becomes a problem where there's another one, then I might look into trapping them, or I hear about these spikes you can put in that will vibrate, that kind of keeps them away. But hopefully it was just a freak thing given all the rain we've been having. I hope, because I don't want to have to deal with these guys all the time. Because I tell you, the damage they can do is insane. Literally that video you guys are watching, the little time lapse, that was like an hour and a half, and if it didn't take us a little mole coffee break, it would have kept going. It would have dug all the way through the lawn. I'd have like a big stripe all the way through my lawn, big tunnel. So they can do a lot of damage quickly. They're like, not necessarily as bad as army worms, but they can do a lot of damage in a short period of time. And actually seeing it on video was very eye-opening. Very, very eye-opening. All right, Ben is up next. He says, even with the taller height, I still plan on keeping the practice the same. Do you agree? Split granular, bi-weekly liquid carbon mow 3 times a week. Yeah, you can still run the same program. You can still do your granular once a month and then do a split application on your growth regulator and your other liquid ferts. You can still do first and the 15th. That's still good. That's still going to work just fine. I mean, it's still a mower. You're just cutting the grass a little bit higher. You're going to be just fine with that. As long as you can get out there and do the spraying. Again, I know your shoulder's going to be a little bit messed up, but if you get out there and you can still spray, then by all means, yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. All right, Devin is going to let's shed some light. He's pretty sure the question about using a cocoa mat drag. They're fantastic. Needle tined verticut and did an overseed on my greens this past Monday. Drug the sand in with a cocoa mat. Yeah, so someone link a picture of one if you guys haven't already in the chat, so I can take a look at what one looks like, just so I can be educated. So thanks, Devin. Thanks for adding a bit of insight, a little clarity there. Appreciate you as always. And again, still got to get you back on the show. Still waiting to find out when it's going to happen, man. All right, Aura Bass is up next and says, "Hi, Ron.
Super chat.
Wrong button. I have a Kentucky bluegrass lawn, and I was wondering if you could tell me what I should do during this fall to get rid of weeds, getting new grass growing, making the grass healthier overall." Okay, so there's a lot in that. As far as weeds, you can get a selective herbicide that will target the weeds that you have in your lawn. So something like tenacity for cool season grass is a very common choice for warm season grass. So something like tenacity, we carry it on the store under the herbicide section. So actually, I'll show you. So if you go to shop and then weed killer, right here, this is it's a mesotrione. This is active ingredient that's in tenacity. This is a good option for cool season lawns. So that's thing one. That's the weeds. To get new grass growing, the one thing I'd say is if you're going to be doing any kind of seeding, read the label, because tenacity does have some pre-emergent properties of it. It's not like it's not a traditional pre-emergent that it has several months of coverage, but there is a time frame when you apply it that you want to avoid seeding. So be sure to read the label to find out about that. Outside of that, making the lawn healthier and getting the grass growing, like a big part of knowing like what fertilizer and what you should be using in the lawn is a soil test. So you can do one now. Actually, you don't have to wait until the fall. You can get one. The one that I recommend is this one from My Soil. Get a soil test done. That's going to let you know what deficiencies there are in your soil, if any, and it's going to allow you to pick a fertilizer that more closely matches what your lawn needs to do well, right? So that would be the thing I would say is be the foundation. So a selective herbicide to get rid of the weeds, a soil test. Actually, I'll show you. I mean, I'm just reenacting what I have here in the infographics. If you go to the store and then just click on shop, assuming this is not broken, it looks like something's going on. I'm not sure what's up. It's not loading. What's going on? I have to look into that. But anyway, if you go to the store and you click on shop here, see on my phone if it's an issue with something else. But on that, there's an infographic that will show right. Yeah, there it loads. Yep. So you show step 1, eliminate weeds, which we already covered that. Tenacity or something similar. Step 2, do a soil test, which I was told you to do that. And then fertilize your lawn. Step 3, based on the soil test results, and then just mow it and wait. That's it in a nutshell. Now, if you want to add some additional seasoning, some things you can do that are also going to help improve the quality of your soil and by extension your grass, then you could go over here and get down here, check out the Miramichi Green biostimulant aisle. So in here, you're going to find Essential G, which is something you can apply now. You can apply it every month as long as the ground's not frozen. This is going to help your soil and also help your grass. And then you've got an assortment of biostimulant products like Release Zero or 901C, and also the NutriKelp products. So there's tons of things you can do, but the foundation really is get a herbicide that will target the weeds that you're after, and apply that at the correct rates to get rid of the weeds. Get a soil test done, which you could do that now, and fertilize your lawn based on those results, and then just mow your lawn a lot, right? And then again, Essential G and the other biostimulant products are only going to make things that much better, but it really comes down to that core aura. So hopefully that helps. If you need anything else, let me know. All right, next up we have Thomas Roybal. He says, don't forget the smashed like button. Friday beer, and let's talk about the lawn. So great. Yeah, so if you guys wouldn't mind, we're an hour in, and I know it's asking a lot. We've got, a little over 100 people here in the live stream. If you guys wouldn't mind touching the like button ever so gently, it doesn't cost you guys anything. It's completely free, and it's a great way for you guys to support the channel. It's great for you guys to support the channel. You know what I mean? It won't cost a thing at all to do so. Hey guys, something else. So for those of you that are new and prefer more to read, guides and things along those lines, something we're working on in the store too is adding a lawn guide section. I haven't put it on the menu yet because I'm still working on it. But if you guys want to sneak peek, a little preview, I'll put it in the chat for you guys and also show it. So this is the lawn care guides page, and if we go here, I'll show you guys really quick. So this is a page with some lawn care resources. On here you'll find, eventually if I can get like a guide for cool season, warm season grass, I'll add that as well. But you've got some of the better blog posts that people seem to really like reading on here. Like you've got again, step-by-step guide how to get a golf course lawn, how to fix a lawn full of weeds, stuff on fertilization, post-emergent guides, how to use fungicides in your lawn, getting a green lawn, and then you get the lawn pest section, insecticides, that type of thing. So it's again, I'm still building it out. I'm going to continue adding to it. It's kind of a knowledge base. It's going to have a lot of the articles that people that will hopefully find useful. I put a link in the chat, and if you're watching this after the fact, if you're watching the video, like the replay of it, it will also be in the description of the video. So if you're interested in just checking that out, you can too. But pretty much for people that don't want to watch YouTube videos and still want some information, I've got, I'm trying to take a lot of what's in the videos and distill them down into little chunks and put them into little posts. So check that out if you're so interested. All right, next up is Allison A. Says, what can I use to get rid of chinch bugs? I'm not sure if the pest control will do it. So you want an organic way of doing that, or a non-toxic way of doing that, Allison. This product from Miramichi Green, the pest control product, this will take care of chinch bugs. And given that it's non-toxic and the way that it works, there's not the bugs can't form any kind of resistance to it. So I'll show you where you can get that. First, you go to the golf course lawn store. It's actually pinned to the top of the chat box. If you look at the top of the chat box that you're writing this question to me in, it's pinned up there. So if you click there, and then you go to the Miramichi Green section. In there, you're going to find pest control. So Miramichi Green, and then the non-toxic pest control. As far as things that it controls, or insects that it controls, you got mosquitoes, spiders, Japanese beetles, whiteflies, a bunch of other stuff. You guys don't need me to read it to you. It's a great product. It talks about all the different benefits of it, and as well as a video that shows you how to apply it. using a fogger. That is what I recommend. You can get more coverage by using a fogger to apply this. And I have a link here somewhere, yep, to a fogger that I like. So be sure to check that out as well. But yeah, a lot of information you're going to need to get a good result is in the description of the product. So just go to the store, check that out, and this will do the ticket for you. The nice thing about this as well is that literally you can spray this on lawn furniture, table, patio, everything else, and as soon as it dries, you can re-enter the area. You know, it doesn't smell bad. I mean, it smells kind of like lemon, almost like has like a lemon scent to it. It's actually a nice smelling product. So check that out. You know, again, I showed you where you can get it on the store, and that is what I would use for chinch bugs. There's probably other products as well. I'm sure there are other products, but if you want something that's non-toxic, say for, you know, kids if you have kids, or fur babies if you have pets, that is what I would go with. So hope that helps. Let me know if you need anything else. All right, Demir is also saying get some 2,4-D. He says get a 2,4-D product and spray out the weeds, then do a dethatch or verticut, do an overseed, top dress with sand or soil mix, give it a kick of a balanced NPK fert after you get your seed down. So there you go. So yeah, using 2,4-D, I guess to Devin's point, he didn't say this, but to his point, it has the benefit of that tenacity doesn't, from a standpoint of it's not no pre-emergent aspect of it, right? So you can do that, and you can literally follow what Devin has outlined here. So good stuff, Devin. Thanks again for chiming in. So we got to get you back on here. Got to get you back on. Always fun having you in the show. Okay, Ryan OBX says on the top regards the topic of top dressing hybrid Bermuda. How would you calculate cubic volume square footage to achieve a 1/4 to 1/2 inch depth? You rock. Okay, so you don't have to get out there with like, you know, a ruler and make sure you're putting down exactly a 1/4 inch or exactly a 1/2 inch. What a general rule that I have used that works well is to apply to use 1 cubic yard of top dressing mix over 1,000 square feet. 1 cubic yard over 1,000 square feet works well. Tends to produce a pretty good result, Ryan. So and that will get you between that 1/4 to 1/2 inch coverage over the lawn. Now, as far as knowing whether you've put it down adequately, you've done you haven't gone too heavy. If you can see the grass tips popping through in various parts of the lawn after you're done, then you know you've done it correctly. You know what I mean? But typically 1 yard per 1,000 square feet is a good number to go with as far as, you know, figuring out how much material to order, if that makes sense. That's served me pretty well, served Alex well. I've had some friends that have top dressed their lawns, and they've gotten good results sticking with that 1 yard per 1,000 square feet rule. Okay, let's see here. Rich is up next. He says, hi, Ron. I have the impression that you don't use tracker dye in your spray tank much or at all. Could you talk about your reasons or cons you see? Thanks. Yeah, so I do use the marker dye whenever I'm spraying herbicides. So if I'm spraying like a post-emergent herbicide, in that case, I tend to use marker dye. I don't, as far as why I don't, I spray my lawn. I'm out there so much. I spray my lawn so much that I tend to do a pretty good, I'm pretty good at overlapping and not having to put it down. Another reason why you don't see it on my tank is because I'm not that it's strictly necessary, but I am religious about rinsing out the tank after I'm done using it. So it doesn't matter what I'm spraying. I rinse out the tank really, really well after I'm done, so it tends to not get discolored or stained up too much, right? But but if you are new to spraying, and even if you're not new to spraying, there are benefits to using marker dye. You can make sure your overlap is dead nuts perfect. You're going to get it really good by using marker dye, and it prevents over and under application. So those are the benefits to it. One of the things, what are the cons to it? It discolors the grass slightly for a couple of days. So if you care about that, it's gonna, the grass is gonna it could turn blue, but in most cases it gets like a really, really deep greenish color, unless you go really, really heavy. But yeah, I am a fan of marker dye. I think for spraying, especially if you're spraying herbicide, I am a fan of using it that way. Because that way, especially if you're spot spraying, you want to walk around and see what you've sprayed and what you've not sprayed. It's really easy to forget you sprayed an area unless you actually have some a color to show that. Now, when I spray pre-emergent, I don't tend to use it because I do the entire lawn. The entire lawn's getting sprayed, so it doesn't really matter as much. But if I were spot spraying an area that is within the lawn, then a marker dye is something I'm a fan of. There are people that do it all the time. There's people that when they spray their when they apply their growth regulator, they use marker dye. So it's more of a personal preference type thing. For me, I'm out there often enough that I don't use it all the time. So hope that helps, Rich V. It doesn't really, either way can work. It's a good idea if you're not sure about your overlaps, and it's not gonna hurt anything. Even as far as the discoloration goes, it's only a couple of days. You know what I mean? It's not like you're gonna spray it and it's gonna be like that for a long period of time. A couple of days, it'll all be back to normal. Okay, Ben Raham says, what will the good TJet tips fit a pull behind sprayer? Are they on your store? I did get the liquid acetylprin down last week, and hopefully that was good timing for impending armyworms. Yes, I mean, you could have done it earlier in the season, but even last week is absolutely fine, Ben. You should be all set for armyworms for this season if you got your acetylprin down. The tips should, I don't know what kind of which tow behind sprayer you have, but yeah, the spray tips should work in that. I mean, you gotta remember, this is not something that TJet makes for like backpack sprayers specifically. Like, I mean, their big market are larger spray equipment, like the kind of stuff that's used on golf courses or tow behind sprayer, like what you have. It's not really for 4-gallon backpack sprayers. I mean, it works, but I'm saying that yes, if the tow behind sprayer you have is worth its salt, it should give you the option to swap the tips out. And the TJet tips should work. So yes, I'd be shocked if they didn't. I do not have the spray tips on my store, but I've got links for them if you want to, you feel like supporting the channel and you want to buy a set of spray tips. I will give you the links here now. So for the air induction tip, Ben, this is the one that I would go with. For the flood jet tip, this is the one that I would use, the same one. And then for the foliar tip, which is the one you're probably going to use most of all, this is the one that I use and recommend. So there you go. You got all three of them, and you should be good to go. If you have any questions about using them, again, I've got a video on spray tips on showing the benefits of it. If you haven't seen that spray tip video, so for any of you guys that are watching, you're wondering why does he even care about what spray tips he use? So for a foliar uptake product like a Primo Max, like a growth regulator, like some liquid fertilizers, some biostimulant products, like the idea of using a finer droplet size, you're going to be able to coat the leaf of the grass better than like a larger, heavier droplet that's going to be more likely to run off. And if you want to see how that can be illustrated, I've got a video that actually in this video on spray tips that actually shot a scene where I spray some leaves with a foliar tip, and then spray some with an air induction tip, and you can literally see the differences in droplet size. So the reason why you'd want to go out and invest in the $15 or so that it costs you to get a good set of spray tips. It's an upgrade for any sprayer. It doesn't really matter which sprayer you have. Most of them will accept these tips, so it's a good idea to use it's a good idea to use a TJet tip, or the correct sprayer tip given for the type of product that you are applying. And the video is in the chat now, and I'll also put this in the show description, the description of this video if you guys are watching after the fact. But it's a good little video. It actually shows you the differences between the tips. There actually is a good reason to use the right tip given the product that you're trying to apply. Okay, Rio the Hitman says, thanks for all you do, Ron. You're very, very welcome, sir. Thank you for coming to hang out tonight. As always, I appreciate it. Black Cloud says, thank you so much for your help, Ron. Last question. It's never the last question. His last question so others can have a turn. What do you do for fun in your downtime? I got into golf last summer. You should give it a go. And do you play video games? Yeah, so I used to both play golf and I used to play video games somewhat competitively. I mean, here's the thing. I used to play World of Warcraft pretty competitively, right? So I think we were on our server, we got up to top 3, which is, that's for both factions. For we are Horde, but for both Horde and Alliance, which is decent. But it's a ton of work. Here's the thing. I would, as far as other hobbies, I like working on my lawn. That's my hobby. So I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy editing video and doing like cinematography and trying to figure out creative ways of telling a fun story for you guys. Like that I enjoy doing. So I do a lot of that. But like golf, I used to play golf like in the early 2000s, between like 2000 to 2008, I used to play golf like I cut my grass. I used to play golf a lot, like several times per week. I used to be out doing it. But it's one of those things. I'm too competitive. If I don't have the time to do something at the level that is going to allow me to be, good to what I set for myself, I'd rather not do it. And golf is one of those things, at least for me anyway. Unless you do it often, unless you play often, it goes away. I'm gonna say fairly quickly, but you're not gonna, you can't like not play golf. You can't have like a 5-year stretch of not playing golf and still go out there and play and expect to have a good time, unless like playing army golf, going right, left, into the trees, into the shrubs, into the rough. Unless that's your idea of fun, which isn't for me, then that's why I don't do it. And video games, same thing. Like playing like World of Warcraft competitively is an incredible time commitment. Like it's a ton of time. When you're not gaming, when you're not actually raiding, you're spending time doing dailies and farming, like farming mats for like potions and all this kind of. So it's a lot of work. So I'm not just a lawn nerd. I was also like a video game nerd too, right? But yeah, I just don't have time. I don't really have time for it. It's between karate and YouTube and everything else I'm trying to do. I just don't, and work. I have like an actual job. I don't have time for anything else really. So Troy's in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, what's going on, Troy? Appreciate you coming to stop by and say hello, sir." And then next up is Austin B. He says, "Getting the lawn leveled again by Georgetown Lawn Level Monday." Cool, nice stuff. Those guys are the best in Texas. My C27E demands a level yard. Nice mower. Congrats on the evolution on the C27. Very, very cool. Yeah, here's the thing I will say, Austin. Take pictures. What you got? You got one of the new vets, looks like. Nice ride, man. I like it. I dig it. Take pictures before and after. So take pictures of how your lawn is now and take pictures after they level it, because you're never going to be able to take pictures again of how the lawn is in its current like bumpity state. So take some pictures, probably maybe some video, even if it's just with your phone. Like make sure you get a record of it so you can see how far the lawn has come. Great stuff, man. Sounds like fun. The only thing better than like top dressing your lawn is having someone else top dress your lawn, right? Because it's a lot of work. Okay, Alton J is up next. He says, "How do I get rid of the yellow areas of my lawn and make it green again?" It depends on why they're yellow, Alton. Depends on why they're yellow. So if they are yellow because you were scalping, like you set the mower too low and you scalp the lawn, you cut off too much of the leaf. It's just time. It's just a time thing. The grass will grow back and it'll get green again, and you just have to wait that out. If it's yellow for problems of like lack of water, then in that scenario, then putting water on the grass is going to help. If it's yellow because of lack of nutrient, fertilizer will help. But for most, just kind of trying to read through the lines of your question, it sounds like maybe you may have gotten too low on your height of cut, and if that's the case, it's just gonna take time. If it's also yellow from like just again from all the hot weather we've been having, it's going to take the lawn a while to bounce back once it starts getting, regular water for whether it be from irrigation or rainfall. So it's just the long short of the answer is time. There's not really a way to really speed that up, other than just waiting it out. You know what I mean? So I don't have a better answer for you, but it will bounce back with time. Okay, next up is Breck TV. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for all you do. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching, Breck. I appreciate you." He says, "As I'm going to apply PGR for the first time this weekend, what kind of results should I expect from the first application at half rate? Thanks." The same results you would get like if you did it at full rate. It's going to be good. What'll happen is you'll apply growth regulator. Let's say you do it on Monday, right? So you apply it on Monday. And then by Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, you should see that the grass how quickly it's growing is going to be slowed down quite a bit. So say you mow, you apply it on Monday. Say you mow, you apply it on Monday, and then you cut your grass the next time, say Thursday or so. What you should notice is following that cut, after the first cut after applying growth regulator, it's like the clippings that come off are going to be less. They're going to be a lot less. It'll almost be like it should be a fairly substantial reduction in clippings. And but yeah, so even it being at half rate, what you'll find is if you only apply it at half rate and you don't reapply again 15 days later, what you could find is 20 days in, 21 days in, 3 weeks in or so, the lawn is going to start coming out of regulation. You'll see a big flush of growth. So as long as you're sticking with that every 2 weeks, 1st and the 15th, getting your growth rate down, your PGR down, you should be good to go. So you're going to get the same results. And the one thing that should not happen is you should not get tip burn. You should not get the yellowing that can happen if you apply at full rate. So that's one benefit of doing the half rate apps. All right, Dwayne Hopkins is here. So Dwayne, you did show up, man. I already showed everyone pictures of your new mower. So hopefully you're around to see it. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. I used my brand new 5-year-old McLean, picked up about a week ago. When I brought the mower home, my wife had just one question. My wife just had one question. What is wrong with you? I only had one response. I know. Hopefully my name in it. I don't want this woman coming after me. I said, I only had one response. I know. Okay, that was your response. I guess it's not. I could have thought of better things to say, but I guess if that got you out of the doghouse, roll with it, right? And let's see. I think you have a follow-up here. It says, I waited till today to use it as I got a new grooved front roller for it, and I love the quality of cut. Very nice. Grooved rollers are awesome. I noticed that the grooved roller doesn't stripe as well. May have to switch back to smooth. I mean, because you're not rolling the grass down as much, but it should still do a pretty good job. You're right. It is, the smooth will stripe a bit better, but there's so many benefits to the grooved roller that I don't know that I think the small hit that you take to stripe action, I don't know that I would go back to a smooth roller over a grooved if it were me, but it's your call. It's your call which way, what you like and what looks better for you. All right, Heartfelt Fashion. He says, I like the Mo video, but I thought someone would have negative things to say. No matter good or bad, people will come out of left field with crazy comments. That's always, man. I could post a video on, I don't know, saying you should water your lawn at some point, and someone's going to have something negative to say. It's just going to happen. If you're going to put yourself out there on the internet, you gotta grow thick skin. It's all par for the course, right? All part of it. I appreciate them watching anyway, though. All right, next up is Trilla. He says, happy Friday, everyone. And sorry you had to cancel your top dressing, Ron. First, we begged for it, and now we need a break. That's life, man. That's life. But hopefully next week, if the weather cooperates, I'll be able to get it done. So we'll see. It will get top dressed sometime next week. That will happen. Will happen. Okay, Ryan OBX does a clarification. He says, sorry about my half comment. I have fat fingers. I was sold Arden 15 sod overseeded with perennial rye. Maybe I got ripped off, but it's definitely Bermuda. Maybe it could be. I've just never heard of Arden 15 or any sod farms growing Arden 15 because in most cases they use hybrids. In most cases they do a hybrid type grass, right? So I've never heard of Arden 15 being in a sod farm. Possible, but I've just never really heard of that being a thing. You know what I mean? But I mean, if it looks good, whatever, roll with it. Whatever. If the grass looks good, nothing to worry about. No, don't create a problem where there's no problem. If it looks good, just keep it. Keep it and enjoy it. Mow it in good health. You guys are not too many questions tonight, guys. You might actually get out of here at a reasonable time for change. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Govind Prakash is here. First of all, Govind, thanks for coming to hang in. I hang out in the stream. I haven't seen you in a while, so glad that you're back. All right. Question and comment he has. It says, few months of using a reel mower. Notice the lawn is getting scalped. Increase the height just a little and it seems fine. Does that change any of the product intake? I follow your spoon feeding program. So yeah, this time of year, if you are not doing some of the cultivation practices like verticutting, verticutting or turf raking, or not turf raking so much, or verticutting, something to thin the lawn out, you are going to start getting scalping in areas that you were not seeing scalping before. So what you're seeing is completely normal. Your options are, one, raise the height of cut like what you did, or verticut the lawn or scalp the lawn to do a height of cut, like a reset to clean out some of the material. As far as changing the amount of product being used, no, it doesn't change. I mean, you're not changing it. You're not using, you're not going up by 3 or 4 inches, but no, to answer your question, no, the coverage stays the same because I'm sure you only raised it a tiny amount. You know what I mean? So no, you should use the exact same rates. You'll be just fine. No need to alter that. All right, Steve Jackson says, appreciate your comments regarding the groomer. John Deere offers a roller brush Wonder if that would make a nice alternative to stand the grass up for the better cut. Thoughts and thanks. It depends, man. I mean, but you heard Devin said what you're hearing is my opinion. So my opinion for me, a groomer, not for me, is not something I would put on my mower, mainly because when they're crazy expensive to put one on. At least for me, my price was very expensive to get one. And I'm not mowing short and low enough so that I know I would really get a benefit from it. However, Devin is also telling you that there's a lot of benefit to using one, or depending on how you set it. The one thing I would say, Steve, is if you decide to go with it, and both Devin and I were in agreement on this, is do not try and use it like a verticutter. Do not set it to where it's like, down into the soil and you're trying to use it to verticut. That's not what they're designed to do. If you want to, again, if you're going to set one up pretty high and have it, tickle the grass and stand it up, yep, that it can work for that. A brush. I've never used a brush. I've never used a. Are you talking about like a fixed brush, like a fixed lawn brush that goes on the front of the mower? That if that's what you're talking about, yes, that's a thing too. I didn't realize you could get those for the John Deere push mowers. But if so, and you want to try that out, sure, go for it. That can help. Again, to your point, it can help stand the grass up, to help produce a slightly cleaner cut. Either of those options can work. Of the two, if I were gonna, I mean, it's really up to you, but the brush, it would not. I might do the brush for a couple of reasons. Because the brush, if you ever decide to top dress your lawn, you could also set it a little bit lower and use it to you could obviously turn the reel off when you do this, but you could use it to as like a power brush, right? To kind of brush the sand in or help the sand settle in your lawn. So I think that has more utility than the groomer. But again, I'm not a groomer guy. So there's that. But either way, you heard Devin's comments too, and again, he definitely knows what he's talking about, and is speaking from a lot of experience from setting up a groomer properly and getting a good result with it. So if you decide to spring for that, the big thing I'd say is do not set it super low, don't try and verticut with it. And in most cases, you get a better result from lower cutting heights than you do from higher cutting heights. So. Okay, next up is Dwayne Hopkins. He says, Ron, I cry when buying Celsius from the store. I know it'll be worth every penny. What tips can you provide when I go to apply? Would you ever blanket spray, or when is that appropriate? Yeah, so as far as tips go, use surfactant with it if you want even to maximize the results. Use a surfactant. That's going to, like any herbicide, you're going to get a better result in most cases if you use surfactant along with it, unless the label specifically says to not use one. Outside of that, use your choice. You have two options when it comes to spray tips for Celsius. You can use either the foliar tip, or you could use the air induction tip, like this one. This will work for Celsius as well too. The reason why you might use this one is if you're spraying on a day when there's a bit of a breeze. Really, the best answer is don't spray on windy days. But if you had a day when there's a bit of a breeze and you're trying to minimize drift, like say you're spraying next to a neighbor, like you're along a barrier for a neighbor, a slightly larger droplet size will reduce the likelihood of you getting some of the product in, or some of it drifting into their lawn, into their lawn. You don't want to do that. So either the air induction or the foliar tip, either one will work well. And then would I ever blanket spray? Only if you have a lawn that's full of weeds. So a good example. Whenever I did, like my neighbor's lawn, not Alex, but the neighbor that's next to me, I don't really film on his lawn, but like earlier this season, when they just moved in, they didn't do pre-emergent or anything. So at the beginning of the year, his lawn was an absolute salad bowl. So on his lawn, he got Celsius Certainty with a surfactant, and I blanket sprayed the entire lawn to clean up the lawn, right? So in a scenario like that where you just got weeds everywhere. Then blanketing the lawn is an approach. But as a matter of practice, I wouldn't go out and just blanket an entire. In other words, if I had some spurge like creeping through in some areas of my lawn, I wouldn't take that to go blanket the entire lawn. I'd spot spray it. And when you look at Celsius from that standpoint, then that one bottle that you bought is going to last you for years. It's going to last you a really, really long time, because it's just you're not going to use it that much. Because if you're doing things the way that I recommend, right? Once you step one, you get the weeds under control, and you're fertilizing, you're mowing, you're growing a nice, healthy, thick stand of grass. That in itself is going to really minimize how much weed pressure you have compared to what your lawn is looking like now. And your need for using a product like Celsius is going to be really just for spot spraying, in which case, again, it's going to last a really long time. So hope that helps. I would not go out there and blast the entire lawn with a post-emergent herbicide unless it actually needs it. like most things, any of the sides, fungicides, insecticides, herbicides, I try to limit how much of that stuff I use on the lawn, if at all possible. So hope that helps, Dwayne. You know, and again, that one bottle of Celsius is going to last you a while. But it's a great product. You're gonna like the results you get with it. Okay, next up is Jose Fernandez. He says, Ron, my yard is on a slope and I mow diagonally with a reel mower. I have noticed that when I'm coming up the slope, the height of cut looks a bit higher. Any tips? Yeah, that's kind of a thing. So yeah, because what happens is when you're going uphill, so if you think about it, I don't have a mower here to show you, but actually I do. I've got a mower behind me. So whenever you are going downhill, right, there's more weight on the front of the mower, like pushing down on the roller, on the cylinder. So ever so slightly, you're gonna get a slightly lower cut. When you're going uphill, if you are not, what I tend to do, here's a little trick you can use, and you have to learn this, but when you're going uphill, if you can apply, not a lot, just a little bit as you're pushing, a little bit of upward pressure, not a ton, just a slight amount of upward pressure, that is gonna help even out the cut compared to when you're going downhill. Don't try and drive the roller into the turf, because you got to stop doing that. But literally, when you're going downhill, literally the way the mower is doing the work for you, when you're going uphill, a slight amount of upward pressure, just a little bit as you're going uphill, will help even out a bit. It's something you have to work on and learn for yourself. Like on my lawn, I mean, it's hard to describe how much pressure, but it's not a lot, but just enough to where the fact that when you're going uphill and the weight of the mower is shifting backwards, that the mower wants to pop a wheelie going uphill, that you're minimizing that. You're forcing the mower to stay in like the front roller to stay in contact with the turf. And if you do that, you're going to find that you're going to get an even cut. You know what I mean? So it's your technique when you're going uphill. Not a lot, just a skosh, just a touch of upward pressure as you're going uphill, and that's going to keep that front roller in contact and produce a good cut. Also, another thing you can do as well too, and this takes more time, but if you make another pass, that tends to clean up any areas that were a little bit high that didn't get cut as evenly when you're going uphill on the slope. So a slope is a challenge, man. It's challenging to get an even cut, but diagonal, like what you're doing, is what I found produces the best results. So hope that helps, sir. Next up is Mr. Travis Woodson. He says, happy golf course lawn squad. What's going on, Travis? Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream, sir. Appreciate you coming to hang out. Always a good time. And then Lori J says, hey, Ron, I appreciate your valuable knowledge. Can I apply Caravan G and mix with fertilizer and apply at the same time? No, I wouldn't do that. Here's why. Can you apply them on the same day? Yes. Could you apply 1 liter after the other? Yes. But the problem with doing what you're suggesting is Caravan G has a specific spreader setting, and that's based on like the amount of product you're trying to put down on the lawn, like how many pounds of product you're trying to put down over 1,000 square feet, and that spreader setting is based on the prill size. And unless you have a fertilizer that has the exact same prill size and has the exact same spreader setting, and you have a way to mix them to where it's homogeneous, like a homogeneous mixture, to where the same amount of fertilizer and Caravan are in the hopper, then you don't want to do that. In most cases, the fertilizer is going to have a different setting than your Caravan, so you just really need to apply them separately. I wouldn't do that. And another thing you have to look at too is even if you could do it, right? If you ever decide you wanted to slightly alter the application rate that you use for the fertilizer, you're not going to really be able to do that because now if you wanted to go heavier, like I'm trying to think of all the bad. In other words, no. The best way to answer your question is no. Just don't do it. If you want to do a fungicide and fertilizer at the same time, use a liquid product. Use liquids. That's what liquids are for. That's where liquids shine. But do not mix Caravan with a fertilizer and apply them at the same time. I can only think of ways that's going to go badly. What's more likely going to happen is you're gonna under because the fertilizer prill is likely to be bigger because the prill for Caravan is pretty fine. You're probably not going to put enough fertilizer down, and you're probably also not going to put enough Caravan down. It's just don't do it. Long short is no. I would not do that. All right. Next up. So hope that helps. But again, to answer your question, so actually, I'm telling you what not to do. Let me tell you what to do. Let me give you a bit more helpful answer. So instead of doing Caravan, if you have a backpack sprayer and you're comfortable using liquids, Lori, then let's go look at the fungicide and insecticide section. What you could do is you could take something like a Celiprin, which is an excellent world-class insecticide, and you could in liquid, not this one, the Acelyprin SC. You could use that, and if you want, if you're trying to do an insecticide, you could use Acelyprin. If you want to use Headway, Headway also comes in liquid, but it's going to be it's going to be bigger. It isn't coming. We don't carry it on the store because it's a much bigger. It's a much larger volume. So if you have like a Site One or a Ewing nearby where you can get like a Headway, you get Headway G in a liquid, which again we don't carry it because it's a really big bottle. You could mix that with a Celiprin, and that way you could use that along. You could use that combination along with whatever liquid fert you want to use. Something like, I don't know, anything here, Turfplex or 901C. Now you can take those and mix them and apply them if you so desired. But granular, that's the only bad things are going to happen if you try and do that. So I would just stay away from it. And if you're going to do it, here's what I would say. Here's what I would recommend doing instead. If you want to stick with the granular, because again, it's easier, is apply your fertilizer first and then apply the Caravan G afterwards and then water them in. So and here's the reason why I'm telling you that, is anytime I do any kind of, anything with a side in it, any kind of a side, anything that is designed to kill stuff, so herbicide, insecticide, or fungicide, I tend to apply those last because I don't want to go apply that stuff to the lawn and then have to go like run all around the lawn applying a different product. So if I were going to do like a granular fert, my process would be do the granular fert first and then do the granular fungicide, insecticide, whatever product you happen to be using. Do that last. So that way, after you're done applying it, you're getting off the lawn, you're watering it in, and you're not having to, you're not walking through a bunch of poison or on the lawn. So just my thoughts on how to do it. Okay, LG is chiming in. He says, don't do a putting green. It's not worth it. So that's the thing, too. Another thing, let's just say I could Thanos snap, right? And I could have a putting green. And I have the time to mow it. Then I'd have to have time to go out there and actually putt on it to enjoy it. And I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to, I have like other stuff to do once I'm like not mowing the lawn or spraying or doing other stuff. Like I've got other things, you know what I mean? So to your point, LG, I've seen too many of them that started out like well-intentioned and people were like, yeah, I got a putting green, looks awesome, it looks really good, and they get tired of it, and then it looks ugly and then it doesn't match. Now it won't match the rest of the lawn like ever. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't want to go that route. All right, Mike Harvey's up next. He says, hey Ron, I mowed a notch lower last Saturday. Still a lot of brown today. Have top dressing scheduled for next Wednesday. I want to give the lawn a push to green up by then. Can I put down Turfplex? Yes, you can. So you can absolutely use Turfplex. What you can do, Mike, because given that you're gonna be top dressing, giving it a little kick of nitrogen, knowing that you're gonna be, again, you're gonna be top dressing it, it's gonna help it grow through a little bit faster. So yeah, I'm totally good with doing that. Let's say you're not going to, if you're doing it the way I would say, which is to aerate, then do all your fertilizer and biostimulants and then top dress. If you're not doing a granular fertilizer, then absolutely a couple of days prior to your top dressing, get that Turfplex down and then get your top dress in and you should be good to go. It will help the grass recover a little bit faster. So yep, sounds good. Sounds like a great plan to me. And he says, next up, you said, and the Carbon Kit tomorrow, and then Humic Max and Carbon Pro G next Wednesday when they are here. Or am I just wasting product? You're not wasting product. I would say anything granular, I would wait until, here's the thing, it depends. If they're going to aerate the lawn, then wait for them to do it. Assuming they'll let you get out there and you're not going to get in their way. If they'll allow you to go out between aeration and apply the product, then by all means wait. If they're not going to allow you to get out there or they're not aerating the lawn, then there's no reason to really wait. Literally, you could do everything a couple days before because the stuff's just going to sit on the lawn or on the soil anyway, and then it's going to get top dressed over it. So the only scenario where I would wait for the Carbon Pro G is if they're going to aerate. They're going to aerate and they're going to let you go out on the lawn and apply it, or you're going to be able to give it to them and have them apply it. You know what I mean? But if there's no aeration, there's really no reason to wait. So, but yes, either way, you should absolutely do Turfplex if that's your plan. That's what you want to use to kind of get the grass to recover a bit faster. All right, Joseph Roberts says Hydrotane and Carbon Kit, same tank. Flood tip or foliar tip. Now that's a combination I've never tested, Joseph. I've never actually tested that combination. I've never mixed Hydrotane with really anything with the Carbon Kits. You're kind of breaking new ground here on that one. Flood or foliar. I'd probably go flood. Or what I might do is split the difference. Use air induction. I might do air induction. You know what I mean? And then yeah, I've never done that because really the Carbon Kit doesn't need to be watered in right away. You can, but it doesn't need to be watered in, whereas Hydrotane does. Like literally you need to water it in right after applying it. So it really wouldn't matter either way. I mean, you could use flood or air induction. Either one will work, should work fine, but I've never actually tested it. If you do that, Joseph, let me know. Like message me on Facebook, because I know that sometimes we chat back and forth on Facebook. Let me know if you saw any weird interactions when you try to mix Hydrotane along with anything else, because I've never actually done that. I've never mixed it with anything else other than just it by itself. So let me know once you give it a shot. But I'm leaning towards the flood jet tip. Okay, next up is LG, and he says at Joseph Robert, flood jet tips. See, so LG agrees with me. Both of those need to get down on the soil. So there you go. So yeah, the Carbon Kit will not. It's not going to be negative. It's not a negative to water it in, but it doesn't need it. You don't have to. None of the products from Miramichi Green require being watered in to work. Like literally, I talked to not their formulator, but one of their sales guys, one of their sales engineer guys, and he said literally. Even like take something like the BioSpectrum, right, which is a microbial product. And I said, well, what about BioSpectrums? I mean, that's got to be, it's microbial food. Wouldn't it be beneficial to water that in? He says, well, if you want to water it in, you can, but it's not necessary. Literally, he says between like dew or rainfall, it'll eventually work its way down in the soil and it'll be just fine. There's no reason to go out and run irrigation specifically for that. But I guess in this case now where you're doing Hydrotane, which that one you absolutely do need to water it in, then flood jet. So. Appreciate you chiming in, LG. And again, Joseph, if you decide to go for that, let me know how Hydrotane mixes with it. I'd be curious to hear how that works. Buckshot says, any tips on mosquito control? Yes, I do have a tip for you. You can use, if you have a fogger, use a fogger because it works a bit better. And then I would use a product like this, like the Miramichi Green Pest Control. Reason being, it's non-toxic, so if you want to spray this literally on lawn furniture, on your patio, on the sides of your house, on shrubs, you can on your lawn, spray it everywhere. It's not going to hurt anything. And as far as you being able to re-enter the lawn or family or pets, that kind of thing, it's very effective against mosquitoes and it's a safe product to use. So this is what, as far as mosquito control, this is what I would recommend. You can use it with a backpack sprayer, but really you get the best benefit, or you get the most for your money, in my opinion, by using it with a fogger. And the application rate is vastly different. So see, with a backpack sprayer, you get 1,500 square feet of coverage per gallon. With a fogger, it's like 7,000 square feet. So you literally can mix up maybe a gallon, maybe two of this stuff, and you have enough to spray your entire lawn, the outside of the house, shrubs. You got, so you just get a lot more out of it if you go with a fogger. Buckshot, we have it on the golf course lawn store. So if you go there and just search for this, like Miramichi Green Pest Control, in the description, there's a lot of really good information there. There's a video that shows you how to apply it, how to mix it, all that stuff. And there's also a link to the fogger that I recommend if you decide to go that route. So hope that helps. If you and again, it's really good against mosquitoes. Against mosquitoes, a bunch of other things, other products too. But check the product description. It's everything that it targets is listed in there. So hope you find that useful. All right, Suraj Malhotra says, "Hey Ron, guys, away from vacation will be a month of letting my blackjack Bermuda grow. A little anxious to what I'll come back to. Any tips on how to cut is 0.8 of an inch? It's gonna be overgrown. It's gonna be a lot of It's gonna be overgrown because if you're gone for a month, man, I'd imagine, hey, you're probably gonna come back to an 1.75 inches, maybe a 2 inch lawn. It's gonna be higher than an 1.5 inches, I'd imagine, in a month. A month of no mowing, it's gonna be up there. It's gonna be up there. As far as any tips, cut it taller, because if you're going on vacation for a month, let me see. So it's July now. If you're leaving the end of July, let's say you're leaving the end of July, so you're going to be gone the entire month of August. That means by the time you get back, it's going to be September. You're not going to want to make any kind of major high to cut changes when you get back, because the grass is going to be on the down slope as far as getting ready to check out. So whatever high to cut you're at whenever you get back, you can maybe take a teeny bit off, maybe like a little cleanup cut, but I would not try to get back to 0.8 of an inch in September if you're letting it grow out to whatever it's going to be at, which is going to be, it's going to be probably 1.5 inches. One thing you can do to try and minimize that is go out and get yourself, if you don't have some already, get yourself some Primo Max. Again, we carry this in the store. Apply this at full rate. So maybe the day before you're going to go on vacation, if you can, apply this, do a full rate application for this. On Bermuda, on Blackjack, that's going to be around, you can go between 1/4 up to 0.38 of an ounce. You know what I mean? So you can go up maybe bump up a teeny bit, and that's going to help some. But it's going to help some, but it's also what might happen is the lawn might come out of regulation right before you come back, and it'll be a huge flush of growth. There is that too, right? So it's just know it's going to be taller. It's going to be taller when you get back, Siraj. And I would not, assuming like timing is correct, I would not plan for a major high to cut reset in late August, early September on Bermuda, because it's just going to look ugly, and you're not gonna want to do that. Just embrace the new high to cut you're going to have going into the fall. And what you can do is just know springtime rolls around, you're just going to scalp it again anyway, right? So if you want it to look nice, don't try and scalp or do a major high to cut change in September. It's a little bit too late in the season for that, in my opinion. All right, next up is Gary Kelly Jr. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Got some rain coming down tonight. Decided to throw down my double dark. Nice. Poured it into the hopper, and the fertilizer was damp. Ooh, that's not good. Not nice. I'm thinking of sitting in my shed, cause it to get damp. Could be. It could be. Could also, it could be a hole in the bag that's or just moisture got in there somehow. Oh, that stinks, man. Maybe can you put it in the garage or something, somewhere to maybe see if it'll dry out? The problem with fertilizer is once it gets wet, it tends to start clumping up a bit. So yeah, you can try letting it dry out. Might help, but yeah, it sounds like the moisture from it being in your shed caused it to get damp. I might, let me see, you already did it, but yeah, I mean, if you have enough left over, I might not put it back in your shed. If you want to put it in your garage so that it dries out, or how about this? If you want to store it in your shed, fine, but perhaps for a week prior to your next application, take it out of the shed and put it in the garage so where it has an opportunity. Some place that's insulated that has the opportunity to dry out a bit. But I mean, because in the shed is the end. If you have any kind of rain or any kind of humidity, it's going to work its way into the bag. So hope that helps. Because here's the thing. I'll tell you, I've stored fertilizer in my garage. Like I had a couple of bags of Milo in my garage that were 2 years old. And when I finally ended using them up, it was absolutely fine. It ran straight through it, no issues at all. Same thing for like Acelyprin and Headway, like a lot of some of the granular fungicide and insecticides that I have. I've had bags of that have been open. Now, granted, I tend to roll it up and maybe put a strip of tape over it, but it's not airtight. And I haven't had issues with any kind of clumping. But again, it's in a garage, which is insulated. So that's something you might want to consider. Maybe just for that fertilizer, maybe everything else you keep in the shed, but the fertilizer, perhaps store just that bag in your garage. So that's something I might suggest for going forward. And you said it's way too hot in the shed. That could be it too, but I mean, yeah, it's probably more moisture, humidity causing the problem. More moisture or humidity that is causing the issue. Let's see, guys. We are winding down. I'm gonna get out here early tonight. It's gonna be cool which is fun because tomorrow's big testing day at karate. A bunch of people trying to test for new ranks. So getting to get some sleep early tonight would be kind of welcome. All right, Alex. Every time I see Alex, I think it's like Alex Lee, but it's not Alex. It's another Alex. He's not the only Alex out there, apparently. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Applied the carbon kit with Primo Max. Triple-digit temperatures still in Texas, but the green is holding strong. Thanks for your content. I appreciate it, Alex. And you know what? That's a good point, because a question that I have gotten from people in both YouTube comments and also by email is, can I still spray Primo Max when it's hot outside? Can I still spray the carbon kit when it's hot outside? The answer to both is yes. I spray, like, literally, guys, like my program doesn't change from late April all the way through September. Every couple of weeks, Primo now is every couple of weeks, but even like last year, like spraying liquid fert on the 1st and the 15th was a thing, from like starting from April all the way into September. That was the way it worked. And if you're applying the products properly and you're also going light, you actually are spoon feeding, you really shouldn't run into issues with any kind of damage or burning or anything like that in the lawn. So but I'm glad to hear that you're getting great results, Alex, despite the challenging temperatures in Texas. I know you guys have been going through a dry spell without much heat, or sorry, without much rain, which is a bad combination. So I'm glad that your lawn's is hanging in there, which is great. All right, next up is EB. He says, Primo Max can be applied at half rate. Can you still use a liquid fertilizer with Primo at half rate? Yes, you can. So let me outline my process. What I'll do if I'm applying Primo Max and my liquid fert, the half rate of method of doing that with rates and everything. So the normal rate for Primo Max would be one, if you're doing a 4-gallon backpack sprayer and you're using that 4 gallons over 1,000 square feet, right? So you're doing a gallon per 1,000 square feet. The normal rate would be 1 ounce. So get my eyes out of this. You'll be half an ounce twice. So this 0.5 and then 0.5 again, 2 times that equals an ounce. That mixed with 4 gallons of water will cover 4,000 square feet. For the half rate, same 4 gallons of water, only this time we're only going to put in just half an ounce. That's it, right? So that covers you for Primo. You're going to do that at the beginning of the month and again in the middle of the month on the 15th. For your liquid fertilizer, if you're using a product like Turfplex, let's use Turfplex as an example, right? Something like this or 901C. 901C, you'd go a little bit lower on the rate, but something like Turfplex, which I apply at 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet. On the 1st of the month, you do this, you'd apply Primo at the half ounce rate and Turfplex at 6 ounces per 1,000 at the beginning of the month. 15th of the month, in the middle of the month, you do the exact same thing. So you don't need to half the rate or lower the rate on your fertilizer if you're doing it as part of a spoon feeding program. There's no reason to do that. So 6 ounces, in other words, the fertilizer rate does not change. Only the growth reg rate changes. Only Primo Max's rate changes, not the Turfplex. The rate for the Turfplex, the rate for anything else you're applying. So if you were doing let's say you were doing 901C, which that one I apply at like 3 ounces per 1,000. So you're doing 901C at 3 ounces, NutriCup at 3 ounces, and then you were also applying BioSpectrum along with it. You would still do those rates on the 1st and the 15th. The only thing that changes is just the rate that you use for Primo Max. You know what I mean? So everything else is the same. Because really, remember, the reason why we're using Primo, or using the fertilizer, is not so much, a side benefit is that it helps prevent tip burn. But the reason why we're putting Turfplex down to that 6 ounce per 1,000 rate is because that's the rate that's going to give us a 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen, right? That's the rate that's going to allow us to feed the lawn. Like the reason for the Turfplex is to feed the soil, and then the fact that it also helps prevent tip burn is kind of a bonus. So you need to stick to your same rate on the 1st or the 15th, but just Primo, you can cut that in half. So hopefully I explained that well, EB. I think I did a decent job explaining it, but the long short of it is only change the rate for Primo. Everything else can stay the same. Okay, Mike CS says, do you think I could simply overseed my mostly turf, I used to be able to say it, and I have lost it again, guys. Turf type tall fescue. Made it. Turf type tall fescue. Turf type tall fescue. Do you think I could simply overseed my turf type tall fescue with perennial ryegrass or Kentucky bluegrass and just ease into mowing low? Could you? You could give it a shot, I guess, but like the fescue is not going to like being cut shorter, and I guess it is a way to do that. So what you could do is if you decided you were going to I guess, create a mutt lawn of sorts. You could do the ryegrass or the perennial rye or the KBG. I don't know how thick or dense your fescue lawn is though, CS Mike. So what I'd be afraid of, and again, I'm not a cool season guy, but what I'd be afraid of is once you start cutting the fescue short, it's not going to like that. And if it's not, if the KBG and or rye are not like evenly dispersed throughout the lawn, it could look a bit weird. You know what I mean? I don't know. If Devin is still here, what are your thoughts? I'm not sure if he's still around, but what his thought? I'd be interested to hear what his thoughts are on what you're planning. What I might do is just if you decide you're going to oversee with ryegrass or KBG, I might just keep the cutting heights moderate. So I would try and keep, I would not try and start real mowing the turf type tall fescue at like an inch. So, if you're cutting it right now at say 4 inches, maybe once the ryegrass or KBG starts growing in, maybe you take it down to like, 2.5, 3 inches, like somewhere in there. The fescue should tolerate that, and the rye and KBG will also tolerate that. And you can see how it looks, and then slowly step it down and start seeing, hey, okay, I'm down by a 1/4 inch. The grass still looks good. I'll take down another 1/4 inch. Grass still looks good. Went down another 1/4 inch. It's not looking so great now. The fescue is starting to check out. So then you have a choice now at this point. You've now found the area or the height of cut that the fescue is not tolerating well, and you can either bump it up and just say I'm going to live with the lawn at this height, or you can do a renovation and get rid of the fescue and just go with like ryegrass or KBG, which is something a grass that will tolerate being cut shorter. So it really depends on what you're after, Mike. So I'll give you a couple of options. If it were me, unless you know for a fact that ryegrass is what you want, right? Unless you know for a fact, then try what you're talking about. Try easing into it. But by easing into it, I mean like, again, 2.5 inch height of cut, not like 1 inch height of cut. Like 1 inch height of cut would not be easing into it. So just wherever you are now, slowly work your way down. Maybe each week a 1/4 inch, and just see how the lawn looks. The grass will tell you if it likes what you're doing to it or not. So hope that helps. But your best bet, if you just want to really real mow at really short heights, is to just do a renovation and do KBG or rye. Just have only that. That would be the best, but I get it. The lawn's gonna look ugly if you went that route. All right, he says, I'm looking forward to my leveling top dressing project, but I'm dreading spreading the sand and soil. I'm having a difficult time finding a top dressing machine, rental in Cleveland, Ohio. Any tips? So as far as finding a machine, just look for different equipment rental places. Like look for places that, what you might do is this. Look, instead of searching for a top dressing machine, search for places that rent turf rakes or verticutters. And see and ask them, just call them, not like Home Depot, call like an actual equipment rental place that's not like a big box store, and then ask them, say, hey, listen, I'm trying to find a top dressing machine. If you guys don't carry one, do you guys know who in the area might carry one? That would be your what you may have to do. If there's no one that rents one, you just out doing it manually. It's not that bad. I mean, the top dressing machine does make it easier, but unless you've got, I don't know, let's see, if your lawn were, if your lawn were north of like 10,000 square, well, no, not that much. Even that's a lot to do manually. If your lawn is north of like 6,000 or 7,000 square feet, like doing it manually is a ton of work. That's gonna be a workout. You're gonna want to have help with that. But if you've got like a 2,000-3,000 square foot lawn, it's not that bad. It's not. As a matter of fact, for a lawn that's 4,000 square feet or less, I don't know that I would rent a top dressing machine because it's expensive. Like you got to get the machine, you got a trailer at home, there's costs associated with doing that. And for a lawn less than 4,000 square feet, I just don't think it's worth it for spreading. Because I tell you, like a buddy of mine, so just myself, and a friend of mine, we did 3 yards of top dressing mix in a couple of hours on a Saturday morning. It didn't take very long at all. Again, no, we did have this is a bad example because we had a top dressing machine then. But I also have done top dress the entire front lawn. Like if you guys watch, actually, let me show you here. If you guys watched my compost video from the front lawn from earlier this year, that was done manually, 100% manually. You know what I mean? And that was like a morning. That wasn't that bad. But if you have a machine, it'll be literally a couple of hours. So, but again, I would let the size of your lawn dictate whether you do that or not. I would not go through the trouble of getting a top dressing machine for a lawn less than 4,000 square feet. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the cost. You know what I mean? So hope that helps. CS Mike, keep looking, keep looking. There should be someone in the area that carries one. Should be, but just just check with a rental place that's not the big box stores, and someone should be able to help you out. All right, Kevin Brewster is here. He says, great show question. Does anyone know how to get rid of common Bermuda without killing your Tifway 419? I'm all ears if anyone does. I don't know of a way to do that. There is a herbicide that called Acclaim. It's called Acclaim, that if you read the label, it talks about it's designed to target common Bermuda. But I actually called the manufacturer and I said, hey, listen, your label says common Bermuda. Does that mean it's safe for hybrid Bermuda? And literally the guy who's tech support and answers these phone calls all day, when I said, well, can I use it on hybrid? Literally he's like, oh, I don't know. I've never actually tested that. I might get a small part of your lawn and try it out and see. That's what the manufacturer told me. So, I mean, look into it if you want. It's called Acclaim, the way you would spell Acclaim. Just look into that. If you want to give that a shot, find an area of your lawn in a small spot, if you want to test it and see. But I think what you're going to find is it's going to injure the common and it's going to injure your hybrid as well too. I don't know of a way to get rid of hybrid or get rid of common in a hybrid lawn. I don't know of a way to do that. It'd be a good research topic, but I haven't been able to. I actually have been looking for a way to do that. And I haven't found anything that will selectively do that. So, if anyone knows, I'm all ears. I am all ears. All right. CS Mike says a local supply company has a premium mix they call Super Soil. You think it will be fine for top dressing / leveling? Depends on what's in it. If it is a blend, right, where it's like it's got some sand in it. Like, again, I'm a fan of a 70-30 mix, but even like a 50-50 would be okay. If it's got some sand in it and the compost and it's screened, it's clean, then yeah, it should be just fine. You know what I mean? But if what they're talking about with it being super soil, if it's just soil, it's just a compost product, it's gonna be fine for top dressing your lawn, but it's not good for leveling. You know, you need some sand if your goal is to level the lawn. You don't want to just do 100% compost. You want like some kind of sand in there as well. You know, see what I'm saying? So they're just calling it super soil, which kind of makes me think it's a compost type product, which that I wouldn't go with. But if it's, if their super soil has sand in it, then yes. But I think you're going to find when you call them, they're going to say it's just like a compost product. Yep. And Ben Raham is chiming in. He says, good products cost more by price, but only upfront. They produce better results and provide better coverage by the dollar. They're actually better value in the long run. Thanks for making them available. Yep, dude, I am definitely in the buy once, cry once category. Believe me, I've done the thing in the past where I said, you know what, I'm gonna go get the cheaper product and try it out and see if it works. I've done it with camera gear. I've done it with lawn care products, and in the end, it ends up just being a hassle because, like, we'll use like camera equipment as an example. Like, a good tripod is going to be expensive. Like, you're going to spend a good amount of money, more than you guys would actually imagine, on a good tripod. But when you have a nice camera, using a cheap tripod, chance of it falling over and damaging it is much higher. The ability to adjust it is much easier. Like, you will enjoy like a product that costs more money doesn't just cost more money because the manufacturer's saying, hey, you know what, I'm just going to charge more for this just because I can. It costs more money for a reason. And in most cases, not always, but in most cases, you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? So again, buy once, cry once. When it comes to herbicides, think about it. If you compare something like Celsius to like your normal three-way, right? There's nothing wrong with a three-way herbicide. But let's say you're in this time of year, where you're in the middle of the summer. Like, a three-way would be great for April, May timeframe when temperatures are still relatively mild. But now when temps are higher, if you want to go out and you want to spray a warm season lawn and reduce the chances of it discoloring it, that is where Celsius comes in, right? So it can kill the weeds, it covers a ton of different weeds, but it also won't damage your grass. And the fact that it can do that with higher temps, magic ain't cheap. So there you go. All right, next up is Kevin Brewster. Actually, no, I didn't miss Kevin. I got one more for Mike CS. He says, How short should I mow before leveling / top dressing? What is a good time of the year to do a cool season area? Okay, so if for cool season lawn, if you have I think you have a fescue lawn. For a fescue lawn, I don't know how low you could go and that fescue would tolerate it. I'll answer your question as if you had a grass type that would tolerate being cut shorter, like a rye, KBG, or Bermuda. I'd say at an inch or slightly lower does make spreading the top dressing material easier. The negative to the problem happens is you go taller and taller and taller. Say what you get into, like, say, an 1.5 to 2 inches. It's a pain to top dress grass that tall, because while you can do it, it's difficult to see where the low areas are. And moving the sand through like a thick lawn is an absolute nightmare. It's just not fun to do. So shorter is you're going to get a better result if you're able to bring the height of cut down shorter. If you had a ryegrass lawn, if we're 100% rye, I would say aim for like an inch or so. You know what I mean? But for your fescue, I don't know. Fescue's probably not going to tolerate being cut at an inch. You're probably gonna make it really, really angry doing that. You may not kill it, but it's not going to look very good if you take it down that short. So. As far as the time of year, the season to do that, late August time frame, when temperatures are starting to become a bit more mild. I don't know. I think you said you're in Ohio. When the heat of summer is beginning to fall off, that's a good time to look into top dressing your cool season lawn. I wouldn't do it right now. I mean, your lawn is probably still seeing a bit of stress, so introducing top dressing right now is just not the best idea. So into the fall, early fall for top dressing, height of cut is really, depending on what your grass will tolerate, a bit shorter is better. It's shorter from a standpoint of you're going to get a better job of the top dressing, and it's less work. So based on that, you can decide which height you want to go with. Mike CS for Bermuda, 1 inch to 3/4 is like really nice. A little bit, you could go shorter, even better. But 1 inch is like a reasonable height of cut for top dressing, in my opinion. All right, next up is Kevin Brewster. He says also, where can you get Carbon Pro L? Doing a summer scalp starting over from perennial ryegrass. Let me see. Let me know. It says doing a summer scalp starting over with PGR, okay, and moisture manager. Let's go top dressing, core aeration, lots of Carbon Pro G, and soil treatment. Okay, so you could get it. You get Carbon Pro L at the same place you get Carbon Pro G. So Carbon Pro L is a product that is it's licensed to Site 1 / Lesco. So, or to Site 1, so you can only buy it there. If you see it online anywhere, it's someone that's reselling it. But really, Site 1 is the only one that really is going to be carrying Carbon Pro G, which Miramichi Green makes for them, or the Carbon Pro L. So if your local Site 1 doesn't have it, just ask them to bring it in, and they should be able to get it for you. But you're not going to find it anywhere else other than Site 1. At least that's the way it's been. It's like their white label product. So. Hope that helps, Kevin. Check out Site 1. Or if you want an alternative to Carbon Pro L, you can also visit the Golf Course Lawn Store and then check out the Carbon Kit. You could also use this. This is a great alternative to Carbon Pro L. You got a kelp product in there. You have a micronized carbon product in there. And you also have a microbial package. All in. I mean, granted, it's 3 different products, but like. And actually, the price of this is actually priced to compete against Carbon Pro L, because Carbon Pro L is actually going to cost you more than like the base kit. Like the base kit for all 3 of those products is $99. Carbon Pro L is going to cost you more than that. It's a good product, but they are proud of it. It's great. It's a great product though. So I wouldn't be mad if you decided to go that route too. All right, next up is Colin Dykes. He says, "Hey, Ron from the UK." He says, "What do you recommend for worm casting control on my backyard golf green at 4 millimeters? Thank you." I don't do anything against worm castings to target earthworms, Colin. I just mow over them. I just kick them over, and just whenever I mow them, they get mashed down. What's funny, an interesting point too, what's weird is normally I do have worm castings. This season, ever since I've been ever since I've been turf raking the lawn, I haven't had any. I haven't turf raking and verticutting, like the cultivation work I've been doing. I can't think of the last time I saw any worm castings in my lawn. Also, I haven't had mushrooms in my lawn. I don't get mushrooms in the lawn in the morning anymore. So interesting. I don't know. I mean, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, right? But that's the only thing I've normally changed. And I do have, I got really good soil, and there's plenty of earthworms there because I see the birds flying down, like especially after it rains or irrigation runs, the birds are on the lawn, like going after those earthworms. So you might try, if you have access to a turf rake or a verticutter, and that you can use regularly, maybe try that, because that's an interesting point. Now that I think about it, that I have not had any earthworm castings in my lawn in this season, and it's the only thing that's really changed is the cultivation work I've been doing. Huh. No earthworm castings and no mushrooms. Interesting. So maybe give that a shot. But as far as a product, I can't think of anything that I could recommend to you that will target earthworms. And you really don't want to target earthworms anyway. Like they're good. They're the good bugs. They're the good. I think they're technically an invertebrate. I think, right? They're not technically an insect. But yes, nothing. There's nothing I can tell you other than either live with it or try out verticutting and turf raking your lawn. Like try incorporating some cultivation practices and see if you see a reduction in earthworm castings from doing that. Because in my lawn I have, even though I didn't set out to do it for that purpose. That's interesting. Huh. You got me thinking about that. Okay, Ben Raham's up next. He says, now I have to order the tips and recalibrate. Of course, we support the store here. Thanks for the link. I'm sure these will transform the toil behind. Yeah, man. It's a good point. I like what you said. So once you get the tips and you get them on there, and you settle on the flow rate you're going to run, the pressure you're going to run the sprayer at, your tow behind. Definitely recalibrate. And you need a different calibration for each one of them. You need one for like the calibration for the flood jet tip, and the calibration for the air induction tip are going to be different. For the foliar tip is going to be different. So do one for the tip that you're using. All right. Next up, Brew Crew Fishing says, is acelepryn okay for St. Augustine as well? It is. It is good. So acelepryn is good for all grass types. So what he's referring to is the insecticide. So either one, the granular or the insect or the liquid, either one of these will work. The SC, the liquid product, is if you have a sprayer, you have more control over the rates, and it's easier. I would say it's easier to use. The granular is easier to use, but you have more control over the rates with the liquid than you do with the granular. But either one of these will get equally good results. Brew Crews. Yes, to answer your question, you can use it on all grass types. There's no restrictions on that at all. No restriction on that at all. Good stuff. All right. NMS Auditor is here saying, I've worked too hard this summer to not use the best pre-emergent this fall, so I'll use Spectacle Flow this fall. Also, is this also recommended for a spring app, or is there a better product? I would just change it up. So what I would say is this. If you're going to do Spectacle Flow in the fall, I would use something like dithiopyr in the spring. Here's why. The most common pre-emergent you hear people always talk about is prodiamine, and prodiamine is an excellent pre-emergent. It's a very good one. However, you think about it, in the springtime, like what starts to germinate? Crabgrass, right? Which of the two between prodiamine and dithiopyr has the ability for a little bit of reach back on young crabgrass? Dithiopyr. So you could use either one. You could use prodiamine, that's going to be just fine. You can use dithiopyr, it's going to be just fine too. But of the two, if you can swing it, then, because dithiopyr is a little bit more expensive than prodiamine is, I would opt for dithiopyr in the spring, because it's going to control the stuff that prodiamine does. And if you happen to have any young baby crabgrass, like you wait until March to apply it instead of like early February, like how or early to mid February, like how I do it, then the dithiopyr will do more for you than the prodiamine will, as far as taking care of any crabgrass that starts to germinate. So, just my 2 cents on the matter. But Spectacle Flow, you'll like that. It's a great product. It's expensive, but it's among the best. It's definitely a top shelf pre-emergent as far as they go. Okay, Ben Raham is saying, way to go, Dwayne. It gets even harder to explain as the obsession and equipment list grows. I operate on don't ask, don't tell, just like the results. Never ask her nail budget, never tell the lawn budget. So there you go. If that works for you. Although I would say that depends on how much she's doing her nails, but you can do a whole lot of nails for a mower. Now, if she's doing nails and hair. I can't speak tonight for some reason. If you're doing nails and hair, now that could equal out pretty quickly because hair is expensive. You would not think that a woman could go to a salon and spend $200 and something or more on hair. And apparently it's a thing because for guys like me, go to a barbershop, 20, 25 bucks and you're done. Me, I cut my hair myself. As you can tell, it shows, right? And for me, it's free, just my time. So, but yeah, I guess if she's doing hair and nails, probably evens out. But don't put me in it. Do not mention my name in it. Don't put my name in anything between you and your wife and any kind of mowers. I am just going to tell you, if she asks me, she says, Ron, what do you say? I'm going to say, happy wife, happy life. That's what I'm going to say. I told you. So you can do what you want to do. You can do with that advice as you will. Okay. Dwayne Hopkins says, hey, Ron, I appreciate you showing off the mower. My wife is very understanding. I'm sure she is great. Sounds like a great lady. I told her I was going to sell off one of my other mowers, and her response was, sure you are. Well, eventually you're going to have to, right? I mean, you're going to run out of space to store all this stuff. So eventually you'll sell one off. You'll find somebody that wants a piece of equipment, and you'll be able to give one of your mowers a new home, which is pretty good, right? He says, on a serious note, I do have a PGR question. Here we go. I've been applying at the 0.25 ounces per gallon rate and want to convert to a twice a month strategy. How do I transition at this point? Okay, so if you're using let's say you have a 4,000 square foot lawn, Dwayne, or you're mixing up 4 gallons at a time. So you don't need a 4,000 square foot lawn. Let's say you're mixing up 4 gallons at a time. Just that makes the math very easy because for 4 gallons, you would use an ounce of Primo Max with 4 gallons of water. If you're using the half rate, you would just use half an ounce. So with the label with the bottle here, you can see there are markings on here for a quarter all the way up to half an ounce. And you would just do this. You'd go just half an ounce for 4 gallons of water. Normally you would do half an ounce twice. So one full ounce, you do this once and then this twice, and that would be your full rate. Because you're gonna go half rate, half an ounce for 4 gallons over 4,000 square feet, and you're good to go. So it's not as far as transitioning. What I might say is when it's time for you to do your next application. So say you're doing it monthly, at the end of July coming up here, you would just simply transition to the half rate. You just do just the half rate, and then the middle of August, then just again half rate again. So when you're due for your next app, just apply it at half the rate is what I would say. Don't have to overthink it. Growth regulator is it's fairly forgiving as long as you don't over apply it. Just don't over apply it, but it's don't overthink the process. All right, Bear Rainham says, at Shiraz, I did blackjack last year. I went on vacation late July. Then army worms came. I scalped. I missed August. Most would say don't scalp, but I scalped. Here you go. You got someone saying that it's late August. Most would say don't scalp, but I scalped late August, and the blackjacks thrived till November, late green. So there you go. So if you want to give it a shot, by all means, you got someone here that scalped in late August, and their lawn bounced back. Keep in mind, though, you guys might not be in the same climate. You might not be in the same part of the country. You might, your grass type might be different. I'm not sure if you said you have blackjack or not, but I mean, I'm just saying that there are other factors. Even if you both have blackjack, there are other factors other than the fact that we have the same grass type. Depending on where you are in the country, matters. How much sunlight you're getting matters. If this August is like last August, the one like when he did it last year, that could make a difference. So just something to keep in mind. But you have someone at least that's done it, and it sounds like he had a good result. So if you want to give it a shot, by all means, go for it. All right, 2 Trilla says, sad to say, but we're getting closer to the end of the season. That being said, is there a cutoff time for plant growth regulator? For example, if the grass growth starts to slow down in September, should I cut it off in October? Yeah, typically 2 Trilla, my last app is in September. Last year, I did an app in October because if you guys remember last fall, like it was warm all the way into December. Like it wasn't until I think it was like the last week of December that we finally caught a cold snap and the grass checked out. But but yeah, you can September for sure, and then look at how the grass is growing at the end of September, which it probably won't be doing. It probably won't be doing too much, and then if it's slowed down enough, don't do anything. You know, in other words, if the grass is starting to check out, then there's no reason to do any more growth regulator. But at least through September is what I would say. At least through September. All right. Greg Lyons says, I received my Celsius today from the store. Do I only use my Certainty for nutsedge and for all other weeds, or should I spot spray Celsius? So it depends on the weeds you're trying to target. If you're trying to target sedges and or injured Dallas grass, then Certainty would be good to use. If all you're caring about is broadleafs and like young crabgrass, which I mean, you probably don't have any young crabgrass this time of year, but like you're trying to like do like spurge or foxtail, any broadleaf weeds, then just use the Celsius. I mean, in other words, don't mix. The Celsius is not an inexpensive product. Certainty is also not an inexpensive product. So if you're not spraying, if none of the weeds that you're spot spraying happen to be sedges, then I wouldn't spray this. I wouldn't mix Certainty. You know, I would just use your Celsius. But if you do have both a combination of broadleafs and like sedges and Kalinga that you're going to be spot spraying, in that case, I would mix them because that's the whole benefit of it, right? You can mix them together, they play nice together, and it saves you time. So it depends on what you're trying to target, Greg. If you don't need it, I wouldn't add it to the tank. But if you do, you can, and it will work well together. David Polanco says, good evening, Ron and chat. I hope all are having a happy Friday. Rain in San Antonio is hard to come by. Yeah, not in Georgia. We got plenty of rain here. Even when I don't want it these days, I'm getting it. So shouldn't complain, right? Such is life. Such is life. Okay, Flippin' While You Sippin' says, hey, Ron, what big box store weed control do you recommend? I have Bermuda in Houston. So if you're going to go big box store, Spectricide is a good product. You may have to do more than one application, but I will show you here. You have Bermuda in H-Town. I think, yes, here we go. So if you look at this is what you're going to want to go to, your big box store, Wally World, whatever, and pick this up. This is going to do a really good job. What you might find is it may take more than one application to get rid of the weeds completely, but it applied properly, this is effective. I mean, and it's actually a pretty good product. You've got a bit of everything in there. You got quinclorac, so it's good for crabgrass, a 2,4-D, dicamba. So it's got a bit of it's like a blend, right? It's got a bit of everything in there. Just know that it may take more than one application to get rid of the weeds. Also, if temps are in the 90s, you want to be careful with this because it's unlikely that you're going to kill the grass, but you will get like a little yellow hit. You can take a hit to the green if you spray this at temps at 90 degrees or higher. So just one thing to keep in mind. But this is what I would say to use. Spectricide. That is what I would go with. So hope that helps, sir. All right. Gus P Music says, same for me with mic stands. I have a 3000 mic and I need to protect it. And I need a stand to protect it. Exactly. Like I have like the microphone that you guys are listening to me on is a very good microphone, and I have a decent stand to hold it. And I have like my camera is like I don't even add it all up because it's expensive. It's an expensive camera, and so yes, a good tripod. If someone might look at a tripod and say, oh, $1,000 for a tripod or $1,500 for a tripod is a lot of money. Not really, because you're never going to, it's almost like you're a sound guy. It never, because we're getting towards the live stream, I'm looking for the next comment here. We can chat about this a little bit. It never it surprises me that you'll find someone that will be very quick to go out and spend a ton of money on a very expensive camera, but then you won't put it on a good tripod when you could fall over and break. And if you think about it from a longevity standpoint, right? Like the tripod that I have, I will likely never replace it. I don't do cinematography professionally where I'm like almost going from set to set all the time where it gets beat up a lot. I will likely never ever replace that. And so for that reason, it's like it's a buy once, cry once, in my approach, versus a camera, a few years from now, whenever Sony comes out with something that's cool and better and that I might replace it. But like I would say lenses and like mic stands are things you should buy the better version of, because lenses you don't ever replace really, and like the supporting equipment you really don't replace, and they can make your life easier. There's nothing worse than wrestling with a crappy stand or gimbal or anything. Just buy the good stuff if you can. Save about the good stuff. All right, Ben Raham is up next. Says, Grandpa, whatever will tell you is nothing is more expensive. He says, Grandpa, Paul will tell you nothing is more expensive than a cheap tool, and he is right. Can you recommend a granular spreader that fits the bill? Yes. So there's tons of great spreaders out there. I like the Earthway. It's a good, what I consider to be like a prosumer type spreader. It's and here's why the Earthway is good for a lot of reasons. There's other great spreaders out there too. There's like the Echo. There's the RB. There's a bunch of different spreaders. Echo RB I think makes one as a good one. But the reason why I like the Earthway is that when you get into more professional grade products, like most of the stuff from Syngenta, the stuff from Miramichi Green, a lot of like some of your better fertilizers, like most of those products, there's going to be a calibration on the bag for an Earthway spreader. If you go out and you get like nothing, not throwing shit at a Scott spreader, nothing wrong with a Scott spreader. They can work. But if you get into a spreader that's not common, now you're having to go consult conversion charts and all this kind of stuff. It's just a hassle. It's like one of these things where the extra, like an Earthway, what are they going for now? Let's see, mine is at 2050p. They went up a little bit. These were like 150 last year, and now they're like 213. So the price of them went up a little bit, right? But the time it's saving you from a hassle factor is worth it. Is worth it. You know what I mean? Because now you have to go out and consult conversion charts, all this kind of like this kind of stuff. And I'll put the link to it in the chat for you, Ben. And I'll actually show you a picture of it as well too. So Earthway 2050p. That's the one that I have. It's the 80-pound hopper version is the one that I've got. And I'll actually show you what it looks like right chaw. Give me 1 second. All right. So if we look here, we go to Lawn Care Santa, aka Amazon. Well, actually, Lawn Care Santa is probably the golf course lawn store, but his helper is my helper is Amazon. You look, you're getting assortments of spreaders. Tons of them are great, but either one of these, the 2050p, this is my jam. This is the one I would go with. I guess I mean, you could go with a 40-pound, but you really want the bigger hopper. You really do. I mean, so this is this guy here. I guess it's the same one listed twice. One's like an ad link or whatever. But this guy is what I would go with, 213. It's a bit more money, yes, but that is what I would do. And if you think about it, the Elite, the Scott's Elite, from a build quality standpoint, is a pretty good spreader. It's a decent spreader, but it's not. I mean, this guy you got. I'm not sure if does Scott have air-filled tires. I don't know if it does, but this got air-filled tires, so it's got that nicer ride. The only negative, I say this, the only thing I would say about the Earthway is this. And only the newer ones, because my old one didn't used to do this, but the newer ones, when you are assembling it, there are two there's two wing nuts that you have to tighten down. So it comes all assembled. You just simply fold the handle up, and then you just tighten the wing nuts, and away you go. You're out spreading, right? The wing nuts used to have, they used to be like nylocks, to where when you tighten them on my old one, the one that Alex has, you just tighten it and it never really backed off. The new ones don't have the nylon insert on the wing nuts. So what I like to do is if you can get your hands on some thread locker, some blue Loctite. So put some blue Loctite on the bolt and then tighten it down and let it sit for 20 minutes. It'll set, and then you're gonna be good to go. That's the only little gotcha I'd say. Because if you don't do that, what will happen is it will loosen up as you begin using it. Not like while you're mid using it, but over time, over I don't know, 2 or 3 uses, you're going to start noticing the handle's going to start, those nuts are going to begin backing off. So to prevent that, a little bit of Loctite, drop a Loctite on each bolt, like really crank down the wing nut, and you're good to go. So that's the only tip I tell you as far as the Earthway. Outside of that, it's pretty much bulletproof. Like, I mean, again, my old one, I gave it to Alex just because I wanted to get a new one. Like, I gave him my old one, and I could have bought another one. I could have bought like a Lesco or one of the other ones, and I bought the exact same model because it's a great spreader. It's a great spreader. All right, Tom B says, hey, Ron, just a quick shout out of appreciation for answering my questions on Kentucky bluegrass, heat stress brown lawn. Applied more water this week per your advice, and I'm seeing some good improvement. Cheers. Yeah, that's the thing. You got to realize, I mean, this time of year, I mean, it's starting to get better now, but this time of year for cool season grass is really a rough time. Like, you guys have two peaks. Like, the springtime, your grass is happy, summer it's trying to survive, and then fall is happy again. Whereas with Bermuda or with Zoysia, really we just have like late spring, we start to get really happy. Summertime, it gets really super happy. And then fall, less happy and begins to fall off. So we just get like one nice big peak of a growing season. You guys get 2 of them. So this time of year, as hot as it's been, you're going to have to keep water on the lawn to keep it nice. So I'm glad that just that simple tip of putting some water on the grass, did the trick for you. So keep it up, man. Keep it up. And as the temps start falling off, you're going to find it's going to take less and less work to keep the lawn looking nice, Tom. So good stuff. All right. Wayne C says, what is your recommendation for Essential G number of applications per season? So I do it monthly. Wayne. So literally every month since I have, let's see here, wrong one, this one right here. Every month since I have been here, every month since July of 2020, I've applied either Carbon Pro G or Essential G. I switched over to Essential G last year, and I've been using that ever since. So every month, this has gone down on the lawn. So really, the only rule is as long as the ground isn't frozen. So if you live somewhere where you get like it snows and it gets really cold, then I would not do it. I would not apply it to a frozen lawn. But outside of that, you're good to go. You can apply it every single month. That's what I have done. I've applied it every month. I apply it at the beginning of every month. So hope that helps. Wilbur, Yen, Wilbur, my comment troll on YouTube. What's up, dude? What's going on? Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. Nice to see you too. And next up is Ryan OBX. He says, Ron, I didn't know you like Formula One. I love the way the season is unfolding. Team Red Bull, not hard root for Ferrari. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Once Max is ahead, man, he's going to be hard to catch. Here's what I would like to see. I think Max, if you want my opinion, I think Max is going to win the World Championship again. I think that's going to be a thing. Mainly because Ferrari happens to just keep doing Ferrari. Like it's crazy. They can't put a car under Leclerc for whatever reason that is consistently reliable. You know what I mean? And I guess it's kind of an oxymoron to say consistently reliable, just reliable. So I think that's going to be their thing. Whereas Red Bull, they had their little issues at the beginning of the season, you know, the fuel pump issues or fuel line, whatever, some kind of fuel problem. And once they had that sorted out, they've done well. And the thing that Red Bull has that Ferrari does not have is Max Verstappen. You got to remember, like even when he had that one race where he had the wing broken and he didn't have DRS or it wasn't working properly, he still won the race, which is you know, I mean that says a lot about him as a driver. That, you know, even though he doesn't have a fairly big advantage in a Formula One Grand Prix, depending on the Grand Prix, like Monaco doesn't really matter, but any Grand Prix where there's a lot of there's long straights, he still was able to win. So in my opinion, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but I would think it's Max's championship to lose again, in my opinion. What I would like to see is for Mercedes to get their act together and become more competitive and at least challenge Ferrari for some points. I'd like to see that. I don't want to see, you know, I think Red Bull's going to run away with it personally, in my opinion, but I'd like to see there'd be some competition. You know what I mean? I'd like to see that. I want there to be a fight. I want it to be like last season's Formula One was literally the best season in all the years I've been watching Formula One. I'd like to have that again. Probably not going to happen, but I'd like to see that. All right. Next up is Ben Raham or Daniel B saying it's hot. Okay, I appreciate it. It's too hot there, I guess, where you are, Daniel. All right. Ben Raham says, thanks for the link to the big one. Size matters. I mean, the right size. Caring for 14,000 square feet is different than a 4,000 square foot lawn. I agree. So this matters in terms of equipment, and I feel that this is not discussed enough to make it easy. Yeah. So the one thing with that spreader is it's not going to break on you. I mean, here's what you might have to replace. Every now and then, you may have to put a cotter pin in it because the way it's propelled is there's a cotter pin that goes through, I forget which wheel, one of the drive wheels. It's got a cotter pin through there, and that's what drives the system. That's the only thing really to break on that spreader. Like the gears have held up really well. You may have to put a cotter pin in it every now and then, but that's it. It's not. I mean, it's a great spreader. I like it, and the hassle factor with it is very low because you're going to be able to buy a product, look at the bag, and it's Earthway said it's a 12 or Earthway said it's a 13, versus having to say, oh, it's got, you know, whatever this one is. Now I got to go out and find a spreader conversion chart and see if you can get close, right? So, okay, next up is Shauna W. Says, does Carbon Pro G raise pH levels? I put down 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet today. Guy at site once said you don't need to put it down often, but I've read the opposite. Does it raise pH levels? So yeah, so more than raise pH levels, it will draw pH levels to the mid sixes. So it's a pH optimizer. It is not like a calcium or like a calcitic lime or anything like that. It is so if you have an alkaline soil, it's not going to make it even more alkaline. If you have a acidic soil, it's going to draw it more towards the mid sixes, and it's going to try and hover around there. So there was a study. It's on if you look at like Site One's literature, I think they had like is it NC State, North Carolina State did a study with it, and they did a study of a soil that was acidic. They applied Carbon Pro G to it, and they measured the pH 4 weeks later, and they saw a noticeable jump in pH levels. So, and also talking to Miramichi Green as well, not just taking Lesko's what they're saying, but I was talking to Miramichi Green as well. They told me the same thing. It's an optimizer, so you should not apply it to raise your pH. It's like if you have acidic soil, the fact that it will help your pH move to the mid sixes is just a byproduct. But really, if you want to raise your pH, you should be using lime, not a Carbon Pro G. And he says you don't need to put it down often. I mean, there are benefits to applying it monthly. So it can get expensive to apply it every single month, but if your budget permits, a monthly application is what I do, and I get good results from doing that. You can't really over apply the product. You really can't. So hope that helps, Shauna. So let your budget be the driver of how much and how often you apply. Every month I like, but you don't have to necessarily do that if it, because like I get it can get expensive to go with that cadence over time. All right, Gus P Music says Alabama severe brown patch. Ooh, that's not good. About 300 square feet, clay soil, Bermuda grass. The area gets full sun, no sign of grubs. I laid fresh horse manure. I've never heard of that's first. I've never heard of that one before. And threw some coated Bermuda seeds. Did I make a mistake? Okay, the horse manure is probably not a bad idea, but we need to figure out why the area is brown. So Gus P, if you're still around, has it always been brown? In other words, does that area ever get green at all at any point during the season, or has it turned brown now that we're in summertime? Because there's a couple of things that will cause the grass to be brown. Lawn disease will cause it to be brown. Insects, insects at the root system will cause it to be brown. And you're saying you didn't say anything about that, but a lawn disease, insects, and then also lack of water. Lack of water will do it. And then finally, the fourth that people don't really think about is debris. So if there's like a piece of plywood under the lawn, or a big rock or anything like that, any kind of trash that's within a few inches of the surface, the grass in that area is always going to struggle no matter what you do. So those are some things I would try. And did you put down coated Bermuda seeds? Did you make a mistake? If it's stuff you got from the big box store, there's probably some common Bermuda in it. So yeah, I mean, would not have been my how I would have fixed the problem. But you're already here. Right? And the thing that I think you're going to find is the coated Bermuda seeds are not going to fix the problem. They're probably not, because in general, if you have, we'll use the My Soil test kit as an example. If this is if the test kit is your entire lawn, this is your entire lawn, right? If the green patch versus My Soil is the bare spot, and everything else around it is green, there's a reason why this is bare. There's a reason. And we need to figure out what that is. And grass seed is not for warm season grass. And for Bermuda, you don't need it. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those four things. It's going to be I didn't say shade, but it's going to be, so 5 things. It's going to be shade. It's going to be lack of water. That's going to be, shade is a killer. Grass will never look good, or Bermuda will never do well with shade in a shaded area. So that's thing one. If it's shaded, there's your problem. But if it's not shaded, lack of water can cause localized dry spots and cause brown areas of the lawn. Insect damage, fungicide, fungus damage, or lawn disease, and then finally, I missed one. So insect damage, lawn disease, and then finally debris. So debris under the lawn. So one of those: sunlight, water, insects, fungus, or debris. One of those 5 will be your culprit. And once you fix one of those, fix one or the multiple of those that it is, the grass that's there, that's surrounding this area that's kind of bare, the grass should begin growing, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Because Bermuda is not a difficult, not difficult grass to grow. And if it's not growing, there's something really wrong with that area. So hope that helps. Again, I would not have done the seeds as a way to fix the bare spot. But we'll see. We'll see how it does. But check those other things that I suggested as well too, and see if any of those are also the culprit. All right, Jerry Sobel is next up. He says, "I got some foreplay from your store. You know, it's a great play on. It's a great name for a product, but there's just so many inappropriate jokes that people are going to make about this product." It says, "After I put it down for the first time, what is the interval for the second application? I have a hose and sprayer." Yeah, so really, because the primary ingredient in foreplay is hydrotane, you should be able to get. Really, they're gonna say. They're going to say 90 days, but I would say every 6 weeks, Jerry. That way you're not using up the product faster than you need to. But you're also, that way you're getting the best, you're getting the result. The result's never going to fall away. Is what I'm trying to say. So every 4 to 6 weeks, until once the lawn is doing well, you can taper it back. But every 4 to 6 weeks, I guess. I wouldn't go any more than that for sure. You know what I mean? Because again, hydrotane by itself is supposed to be good for 90 days. So you should see a result with it. I mean, keep me posted. I know you have my email address. Let me know how it does. Again, take pictures too. If you've not done that, take a picture of what the lawn looks like now. And then as you apply the product and obviously keep going along with everything else, keep watering it, mowing it, all this kind of stuff, and then see how it does. Take pictures of it because you're not going to, it's almost like watching your hair grow. You never really see your hair grow, right? You're never going to see the lawn fully improve. And pictures will be a way for you to measure the progress. All right, NMS Otter said, "Buy once, cry once. I bought the 80-pound Let's Go spreader from Site 1. Love it." That's another good spreader too. And then Shauna P. W says, "I have great pH. I didn't want to raise it any." Yeah, in that case, you're going to be just fine. It's going to help pull pH to the mid sixes. It's an optimizer. It does not continually try and raise the pH over time. So you are good to go. All right, we've got a super chat here from Melly Mel. I think we're running out of comments. We're almost done, guys. From Melly Mel.
Super chat received.
He says, "Hey Ron, so I mixed hydrotane and Turfplex on Wednesday, and so far I don't see anything negative. I will keep you posted." Awesome, that's good to know. That's good feedback. I've always wanted to know how hydrotane and how it plays with other products, and it sounds like in your case, sounds like good, which is awesome stuff. Thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate the support. I really do. And then back to Jerry has a question here. He says, "The follow-up monthly application is 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Would you use a backpack sprayer?" Yes, it depends. Either way, you can use a hose and sprayer if you want, or a backpack sprayer, whichever is more convenient for you, Jerry. Either way will work. It's purely a convenience. It's not like you're going to get a better result with one or the other. One argument you could make with you being in Arizona, one argument you could make for the hose end is that the volume of water you're putting down in a given area is likely going to be higher with the hose end sprayer than with the backpack sprayer. So that's beneficial, something to consider. But I mean, it's really up to you. Either way will work. All right, let's see. Ben Raham says, "Is getting the right equipment interesting? There are lots of factors: lawn size, bags of storage, physical ability, desired results. This is not often discussed. Live stream discuss topic: live stream fodder, possibly." So getting the right equipment. Yeah, I mean, it might be that could be a good topic. Yeah, I can do that. As far as a topic on, let me make a shot of it. As far as a topic on lawn care equipment, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I've said a lot of this stuff already, but I mean, yes, that could be a good topic for discussion. I agree. Travis Winston says, "Hey Ron, where did you purchase your height cut measuring tool?" I got it from AccuGauge, actually from the manufacturer. So I will try and pull it up here real quick. Nope, I don't want to lose that window because that's my soil test one. But I can use this one. We can do that. AccuGauge. AccuProducts. Yep. So here, if you go to AccuProducts International, and scroll down, and we scroll. Actually, I'm going to move my face off of this. AccuProducts International, right there. See there? Right? The other way. That way. AccuProducts International, so go there, accuproducts.com, and then you get the AccuGauge. And when you're here, here's the problem. There's a ton of different options here when it comes to the AccuGauge. There's the digital, there's a metric. Now, if you call them and ask them, now there is a digital option. They will even tell you just get the metric because you don't have to deal with batteries. You don't have to worry about, just go. For me, I would go with the metrics. I would do this. I'm sorry, that's the digital. Actually, I would go with the regular one, not the digital. Don't do the digital option. Mine is the 18-inch. It is that one. And mine is in inches, not the metric standard. If you want to do millimeters, you can. But if you want millimeters, $29. It's up to you whether you want that. And then I don't have the hands-free attachment, and I wish I had gotten that. So if you can, spring for the hands-free attachment. I would do that. And then the grip guard. There's the gauge guard and the grip guard. I think you only do one or the other. I like the grip guard because having the. But here's the thing: you technically don't really need the grip guard if you have the hands-free attachment. So it's kind of your call. You really don't need. Getting a guard is good. You might be able to do the gauge guard if you already have the hands-free, but grip guard is what I'd say. And all that comes to you for a grand total of 256 American dollars. So see how easy it is? It's so easy to spend somebody else's money, right? But that is how I would spec one. The one thing that I don't have on mine is this, the hands-free attachment, and I wish I had gotten that. I wish I had opted for that. So AccuProducts International, go there, and they will. That's where I would get one. And that's how I would spec one out if you're going to do it. You think so? It's probably debris, Gus. Quite possibly. Z says, "Hey Ron, is Miracle Grow garden bed soil and black cow a good top dressing mix? Thanks and enjoy your weekend." For just purely top dressing, sure. I mean, you're talking about just increasing organic material? Yeah, no problem. For leveling, not so much. I would not do that for leveling. Not so much for leveling. All right. And then, no problem. Ben, he says, "I have a lot to share for all these considerations. I would be glad to connect to dive in. Enjoy this evening. Take care." Robert signing off. And guys, we are almost done. We're almost finished here. We got Z saying, "I killed them all last year with a mechanical trap. And now he's back, a tunnel in the same area." Well, if you killed him, so he resurrected, or what happened? He shouldn't be back. Another one. His offspring came back, perhaps, right? He said, "Now he's in a tunnel in the same area. The drought seems to be keeping him away." Yeah, if you can trap it or poison it, or whatever you want to do to get rid of it. But yeah, it's hopefully I only have to deal with the one. I hope. If I have another one, you guys will know. It'll be on the YouTube stories, so you guys will know about it. All right, guys. One of the last comments we have here. Wembley says, "New construction home with deep ruts in the lawn. Don't want to use the pure something and deep to level. What's a good option to mix with it for some organic material?" Okay, so deep ruts. Depends how deep you're dealing with, Wembley. If you want, depending on how deep the ruts are, you have a couple of options. You can build up the ruts with like some fill dirt, or you can even use like fill dirt and then pack it. So fill dirt and then stamp it down and pack it. That's a decent option. And then you could top dress on top of that. If it's super deep, I don't know that I would do 100%. I wouldn't do like this much sand. I would do like 4 or 5 inches of sand. It depends on how deep the rut is, because you said a rut, but I mean, 2 inches, you might be able to get away with that with like a top dressing, a leveling mix. But if it's much deeper than that, I might use fill dirt to build it up and then top dress on top of that. All right. CS Mike says, "What do you have any recommendations for product recommendations for measuring grass height?" Yeah, there's a prism gauge if you want. I don't own one. But I think Robert has one. Robert Rainey has a prism gauge, but I don't own one of those. But that, if you really want to be super precise about how high your height of cut is, to actually check it yourself, then you could get a prism gauge. Or you could just simply get like an AccuGauge, set the bench height cut on your reel mower, mow the lawn, and know that you're going to be within, a few thousandths of that height of cut, depending on how much your mower sinks in, but you're going to be within the ballpark. But if you have to know exactly what the number is, something like a prism gauge is what you'd want to get. But I don't know that it's necessary for homeowners, probably not worth it, but if you want something to play with, go for it. Lavendi says, "How do you have your 846s tied up? Using a cord or wireless?" It's cable. It is connected via cable. This goes into my mixer recorder. I have like a Sound Devices mixer recorder here that the mic is connected to. So this connects into that. So it's a cable. It's hardwired. 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 Less to go wrong, no batteries to die, none of that kind of stuff, right? All right, so Michael C says, hey Ron, when you fertilize the lawn when it's in dormancy from heat stress or to cause more damage, I would not. So I would use like a higher potassium product if you're going to feed the lawn. So something like the Yard Mastery Stress Blend. So I'll show you here. We can go to the store. I'll show you what I would use to feed the lawn during higher temperatures if you're dealing with some stress turf. So go to the store, go to lawn fertilizer, and then find the orange bag, which is going to take you here to the 7020 Stress Blend product. This higher potassium product, something like that, is what I would use for a stressed lawn. So hope that helps. Yeah, just do this and apply it at the bag rate, the rate that's recommended, which is going to be 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet. What you're going to find is 3 pounds per 1,000 is not a lot of nitrogen. That's going to be, I'll tell you. Let's see here. If we take 7, we take 3. Let's see, 3, and you multiply that times 0.07 times 0.07. You're putting in 0.2 pounds of nitrogen, so not much. You're putting in like just a taste of N, and then a lot of potassium, which is also going to help the lawn. It's going to help it through hotter conditions. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is what I would use. This one is the one I would go with if you want to feed the lawn in hotter weather. Hotter weather. It's a good product, and that's exactly what it's designed for. Is a stress blend. All right. Let's see. Z says his boys are back with a vengeance. I left him on the lawn for days. You're very, very welcome, Travis. Anytime. Thanks for taking all your time. Green lawns to you all. And the last couple of questions we have here, and then I'll answer your camera question just because you asked, Gus. He says, newbie question. I thought about painting my grass, my brown spots. I saw videos on grass paint. No, I would not do that. I would fix whatever is causing the area to be brown. I would not paint it. I've seen it done. I've seen grass paint done, and it actually look decent, but you're perpetrating a fraud. Then you don't want to do that in the middle of the summer. Just fix it. You want it to be correct. And let's see. Flipboy to Disney says, "What camera do you have?" It's not just the camera, but what you're watching now is there's 2 different cameras. This is an FX6. It's Sony's. It's their first cinema camera that's truly a cinema camera. It's got like built-in NDs and time code and SDI out and all this kind of stuff. So it's a true cinema camera. So it's an FX6 with a very good lens. It's a 50 millimeter lens, and it's got a matte box and some filters and some other stuff that I have on here to get this look. Here's the thing: it takes a lot to make this not hideous, guys. You gotta realize it. I mean, just the camera alone is not going to do enough. But then I'd say more important than the camera is the lighting. Lighting is much more important than, like, you could take. I mean, I could live stream on my iPhone in this scenario, and it would still look fairly decent. It's not gonna look like it looks now, but it would look respectable. But lighting, like bad lighting, is not a good camera, an awesome camera, the most expensive camera, an Arri Alexa will not save you if you have poor lighting. So, but it's an FX6. Okay, and I think we are about done, guys. Last comment is Ben Raham, who says, "You give great respected advice. Some of us are doing this for years and have had not so good advice from others. No shade, but all advice is situational. Size matters for equipment, and newcomers could benefit." Yeah, I think it's a fair point, Ben. It is a fair point. So it's something I think about. I'll think of like some talking points around lawn care equipment, and maybe make that a topic for an upcoming live stream. I think it's a good one. Awesome. Well, guys, we did not go crazy late tonight. And again, I appreciate you guys coming to hang out in the live stream as always. It was a great time. A little bit slower tonight. You guys didn't throw out too many questions. Nothing. You didn't rough me up. You didn't rough me up too much, which is good. And let's see. Levendi's wants to do some camera talk. He says, if you can only afford one light for Zoom, what do you mean for Zoom? For Zoom, what would it be? Okay, so if I can only afford one light, I'd get a really good key light. Like the light, you guys can't see it, but there's a light here that's like large. It can't even fit it's a really big light that's sitting here. It's about 2 feet, 18 inches from my face. And what I would do is get like Aperture makes really good lights, so like an Aperture light, or Godox makes a good light too. But also more important, the light's important, like an Aperture or Godox, those are good, like a good prosumer, I mean, those are decent lights, but also get a good softbox for it, because you, like the softbox, what you want is a good light that's color accurate, but also you want it to be diffused, like so it's soft, right? You don't want it, like, you want it burning on you, so soft light is what you're after. So it depends on your budget, but a good oh, for Zoom meetings. You said for Zoom meetings. If you only want for one light for Zoom meetings, same thing. I would do this. You can, so here's the thing I would say this is people say some people will talk about using like a ring light, for Zoom meetings. Some people like that. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? I personally do not like that look. I think it's lighting is personally, it's very personal. Like you guys will notice, like the way I expose this shot is, you can tell the light is here right now. It's actually turned up a little bit higher because I was messing with it earlier. I didn't reset my settings. Like you notice that this side of my face is lighter, and if you look carefully, this side of the face is a little bit darker. So, and if you look really careful, there's like a slight triangle here. This is what we call traditional Rembrandt lighting, right? So just one key that's about 45 degrees off here, and then a little bit of fill. But if for an inexpensive light, a zoom, like a they call it like a makeup light, a beauty light, like a light ring, just that is gonna make your Zoom meetings look a lot better. So, and that's not that expensive. Put on a stand, you put the camera in the middle of it, and you'll be good to go. But I personally don't like how that looks, but that's better than using the lights in your house. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the love and support. Have a great weekend. Get out and do something fun on the lawn. I'm going to be preparing for top dressing for next week.